They've continued to work and grow and implement their program and are setting the foundation for what they want to get accomplished here over the next couple of seasons.
I think one of the most intriguing teams this offseason is the Miami Dolphins.
The Dolphins have the capital to do whatever they want.
They're competing and building a culture.
I believe in team. I would say that. If you want to strive to do something great as a group, you got to work together.
You have a plan, you stay true to the plan, you execute the plan. The Dolphins, this is how you turn around a franchise, like this.
We're trying to build a team that's going to win right now, and we'll be very aggressive.
Welcome to the field, your Miami Dolphins.
We're looking for guys who are tough, who are smart, who are competitive, love to play.
They have landed some big fish. Love what the Miami Dolphins did. You're trying to build something there.
Patrick throws to the end zone. It is Parker. Darnold never saw the pressure coming, and he is leading. Siki wide open. Touchdown.
Let's have some fun and play together, man. Win on three, win on me. 1, 2, 3, win.
If you can get a group of young men to band together, to believe in one another, to practice and prepare at a high level, then you'll win ball games.
Big man, touchdown, picked off by McCain.
Guys, breaking news as we are going live. The Miami Dolphins have informed Kalen Ballage that he is going to be released. Can't say I didn't tell y'all. What did I tell you before training camp? If Myles Gaskin starts looking like the guy he was on that collegiate tape, Ballage was going to have problems. And guys, Ballage had a really rough first day, and it looks like he didn't really obviously recover. We'll get into this right away. But, I mean, what do I tell you guys? It looks like Myles Gaskin has assumed that RB3 role right now. So, Kalen Ballage, the 1.8 yard per carry man, has been informed that he is being released. EM, wherever you are right now, my co-host, my partner in crime, brother, this is what I told you when I said I want football players that are athletes, not athletes that are football players. And Kalen Ballage is a perfect example of that. You can have the athletic profile all you want, but if you can't translate it to something substantial and with substance on the field, really what good are you right now to this organization and to this rebuild? I wish Kalen Ballage the best, but EM, wherever you are, I hope you got the printer fired up, because I got the bus fully gassed, and next time you're on, you better have that bus ticket ready for Kalen Ballage out of town. So breaking news, Kalen Ballage has been informed that he will be released by the Miami Dolphins. But before we get a little bit deeper into that, guys, we have the curator of Dolphin Nation 305 on Facebook. Go follow them. Go give them a look-see. They're doing big things. They got, I believe, over 3,000 subscribers. Followers, on Facebook. But go follow the homie Paris Love on Instagram. He's an absolute great follow. If I remember off the top of my head, and he'll correct me, it's at Paris Love 318 is where you can find him on Instagram. And he's doing some funny stuff, man. Go give him some follows. He deserves it. But he's also a diehard Dolphin fan, and he knows his stuff, guys. So tonight, instead of EM, we're going to have, of course, Paris Love of Dolphin Nation 305 joining me. Paris, what's good, brother?
Hey, what's up? What's up, Reasons? I'm happy to be here.
Man, I'm glad to have you. Glad to have you, brother. I got to get your thoughts. What do you think about the news of Kalen Ballage being released?
Wow. You know what? Like you said, I knew that was going to happen. I talked to a couple of fans, and I told them, I truly believe that Ballage, he's not going to be with us longer because we got talent. He didn't really show out during the season. He had little sparks in it here and there, but he didn't really show out. So I knew that was going to happen. I knew that.
Yeah, exactly. So before we get into the training camp recap and just go over the reports from today and talk a little bit about how Tua Tagovailoa did today, because again, today, although it wasn't a big one and they were going through light work, Tua Tagovailoa did have the highlight of the day today with a 25-yard little break up the middle there, showing the mobility and no real concern with the hip. But before we get into all of training camp today and all of that jazz, let's go over Paris. I want you to can you give everyone a little bit of your background as a Dolphins fan in terms of how you became a Dolphin fan, how you fell in love with the aqua and orange, and we'll start from there.
Yes, most definitely. I became a Dolphin fan back in 1984. It was the time that my dad was never at home. My mom was a huge Miami Dolphin fan. You know, I used to be upstairs and she used to be screaming out every time the Dolphins play on Monday Night Football. She would scream out Dan Marino. She would scream out Mark Clayton and Mark Duper. So she wanted us to be involved with that. So she would call us to come downstairs and say, I need y'all to watch this because I want each and one of my boys to be football players. Y'all going to be like Dan Marino. Y'all going to be like Mark Duper, Clayton, Tony Nathan, and all that good stuff. So, you know, I started watching it. Then I grew into it. I grew into loving the Dolphins because of Dan Marino, of course. Then it became Miami Dolphins became my team, and then Orange Bowl became my home years ago.
Nice. And I'm going to ask you a little bit of a trick question here because I know a lot of people say their favorite player is Dan Marino, and then usually the cop-out comes out after the 2000s in terms of Jason Taylor, Zach Thomas, et cetera, Richard Williams, et cetera, et cetera. So throughout the 90s, okay, not the 80s, throughout the 90s, besides Dan Marino, who was your favorite Miami Dolphin?
Man, let me say it out loud. O.J. McDuffie. That was my man. And I sat back with him Miami Beach, and we talked a little bit, but O.J. McDuffie, that's the man.
Of course, Juice, right? Like on a personal level, he's my favorite Dolphin receiver ever. I was born in 85. I've told the story multiple times. One of the first pictures of me, 7 months old, my dad's holding me and he's in his Dan Marino jersey. So I was like you, kind of born into it. But yeah, man, I mean, you go back to that 1998 season where he had 90 receptions, 1,050 yards. I mean, O.J. McDuffie was special. You know what I mean? And don't get me wrong, I liked Chris Chambers. I even liked the Mark brothers, but there was just something about O.J. McDuffie that, you know what I mean? He was just special. He just had an aura about him. You know what I mean? So I get to get your opinion because we've had him on the show. Were you a big fan of Richmond Webb?
Oh, man, of course. I was a huge fan of Richmond Webb. Matter of fact, he came a part of Dolphin Nation 305, and that was huge to me. I love it.
Let me ask you this. Do you think, you know, I know a lot of people talk about Zach Thomas as, you know, especially when they compare him to Urlacher, how he deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. But I actually tell people I think Richmond Webb is kind of a bigger snub because he made the NFL's own list of the 1990s all-decade team. And really, can you talk about the left tackle position in the 90s without Richmond Webb? I think you could talk about the linebacker position in the 2000s without Zach Thomas a little bit, because still players step, and that's not taken away from Zach Thomas. But I just think Richmond Webb was, I think, of the 90s, he was the best left tackle of the 90s, and in a 10-year span, in a decade span, that's kind of a ridiculous thing, man. So, yeah, I'm a huge fan of Richmond Webb, but I want to get your thoughts on that. What do you think's a bigger snub, Zach Thomas or Richmond Webb?
Richmond Webb, Mike down, hands down. Richmond Webb should have been in the Hall of Fame, man. I mean, during the 90s, man, Richmond Webb was that left. Keith Sim, the both of them, Richmond Webb deserved to be in the Hall of Fame. Don't get me wrong, too, Zach Thomas, but during the time that I was coming up watching the Miami Dolphins, Richmond Webb was number one in my book. I love him. He should have been in the Hall of Fame. Let's put him in there.
I agree with you. And let me ask you this. Do you think it's because offensive linemen, you can't translate sexy stats like you can with sacks and interceptions with a linebacker? Do you think that's why?
That's the reason. I truly believe that because of Zach Thomas, he was that tough linebacker, interceptions, running. They didn't want to give the linemen the respect what they deserve, and I truly believe that Richmond Webb deserved 110%.
Agreed. So I know you're really big in terms of the actual fan experience. Can you tell us some of your wildest tailgating stories?
Oh, wow. Philadelphia Eagle. Oh, my God. I remember I was coming to the stadium at Hard Rock Stadium. You know me, I dress up in the whole Miami Dolphin clothes. I mean, the football pants, the football jersey, the makeup. And I was coming into the stadium, and a lot of Philadelphia fans, they pack up the house. And at the tailgate, they was pretty much selling me out. Look at this Dolphin fan. Look, you think that he's a football player and all this. They were just selling out. And even when we got into the Hard Rock and they was beating us, then when we came back and beat them, it was a whole different ball game going to the tailgate. We was coming down the escalator screaming out Miami Dolphins. They was getting mad. They wanted to fight, but we were so happy like we won a Super Bowl. And that was the Philadelphia.
And
it was crazy, man.
I've heard crazy stories about even like when you go to hockey, Philadelphia Flyer fans, like Philadelphia fans are just ridiculously passionate. Because if people remember a couple of years ago, I don't know if you saw it, but there was someone, I think it was a Browns fan, and he was dressed as, it was a December game, and he was dressed as Santa Claus, and they were throwing snowballs at Santa Claus like it was nothing. So when we talk about visiting teams coming to Hard Rock Stadium, to you, who have been some of the worst or most annoying that you have to deal with?
Oh man, hands down, New England Patriots, New York Jets, the worst I have to deal with at Hard Rock Stadium. What made me smile with New England Patriots, how that they sold out through the midst of the Hard Rock Stadium, the football game there, just selling out the Miami Dolphins, selling us out. But when we put that miracle play on them, the whole atmosphere changed around. And like I said, leaving the stadium, it was like a Super Bowl when the Dolphins pulled that miracle on New England Patriots. But New England is horrible all the time when they come see us.
So you were there for the Miami Miracle, obviously, right?
Yes. It was like Christmas.
Would you, if you were to rank your top 3 live moments at games, where would that fall?
It will fall on the last play of the game when they ran the ball back for that touchdown. Mike down. That's what it is right there.
Was that your favorite live moment of all time?
That was my favorite live moment. I mean, doing the whole game, I was kind of stressed out because then you got New England fans screaming in your ear. I told you, you're going to lose. Y'all going to lose. But when that play took place at the end of the game, that's the best play ever. Then I get the chance to sell them out. Like now. Now, what you was talking about now about Miami Dolphins, they was going to lose, but the sad part about it, they want to fight.
Have you actually witnessed any fights in front of you between Dolphin fans and?
Yes. Up on the 300, it was the time that it was New England. 2 fans was drunk, and our Miami Dolphin fan was drunk. New England was on our territory. They was up in the 300, selling out, and happens both of them start fighting. And I had my little son with me, and I told my son, you know what? You don't need to see this. Let them have their fun, and we're gonna watch Miami Dolphins whoop that behind. It get crazy.
When the liquor gets flowing, right? When the liquor gets flowing, right?
Oh, man, yeah.
So when you go into the 2000s after the 90s, and you can name them if you want, number 99, who was your favorite Dolphin once Marino retired, OJ McDuffie left?
Man, it's a few of them, man. Again, Zach Thomas came in there. You know what I'm saying? Number 99, Jason Taylor. Oh my God. Let's go back. Let's go back a little bit. The running back, Ricky Williams. Oh man. Every time Ricky Williams get the ball and run that ball, and then we know off the rip he's gonna make a touchdown. And we get so hyped up. Give him the ball. Give him the ball. When he make that touchdown, the whole stadium erupt. I mean, we get crazy, man. There was like a tons of good players that Jimmy Johnson brought in, and most of them was awesome, man. It was real good.
So, speaking of Ricky Williams, I guess that was kind of the most hype we've had since Marino retired. But can you remember any time since Marino retired, or even since Ricky was here, that the fan base has been this excited about Tua Tagovailoa being drafted at number 5?
Yeah, the only thing brings excitement right now. I mean, we had a rough year last year. I mean, we knew what was going to take place, what was going to happen. But when they picked Tua, the excitement came back into Miami. I mean, we waited for a long time. It's about time that we get this quarterback. And I've been watching him do training camp. He's been stepping up a little bit. So the excitement is on Tua, man. We want to see what Tua going to do. And I can't wait to see him play.
So is this one of the first years you're not going to actually be at training camp?
Yes, man. Unfortunately, it's sad because of the pandemic. And every training camp, I'm there. So this year, I'm not going to be there. Wish I was there.
Are you going to be attending any of the games this year with the 13,000 capacity?
Yes, I am. I will be in the house. I'll be dressed up. I mean, we're not going to have no tailgate. But I would be dressed up if I was going to a tailgate. I'm going to party when I walk into the stadium, get on the inside, sit in the chair. I'm going to scream like we having a tailgate. I mean, a tailgate party at East 12. So I'm ready. I will be there.
That's amazing. When you look at this team, is there any name, like, is there any player we drafted or in free agency you're excited about besides Tua Tagovailoa?
Man, all I can say is Tua. I just want to see Tua. I just want to see Tua play. I mean, I like the whole team who we got, and I'm happy that Howard is coming back, and I'm excited because of Tua. I really want to see Tua. I had time to really talk with Tua in January, and him and his dad. And let me say the story. When I met Tua on South Beach, and we was talking, he was telling me that he want to come to Miami so bad. And I told him that, you know what? I believe, I got faith, you're going to be here. We need the next Dan Marino. We need you here. I even told his dad, and to a father saying, you know what, Miami, Florida, remind him of Hawaii. And I told him, I made a promise. I said, listen, y'all gonna be here. Matter of fact, let's take a picture. So me and Tua took a picture, and I told him that once you get here, once I meet you, I'm gonna show you that same old picture, and you're gonna look back and say, I remember you, says that I'm gonna be in Miami. So the best player right now who I want to see is Tua. I really want to see him put that ball out there.
Let me ask you this. You know, a lot of people thought we tanked. All right. You know, he ended up getting hurt. God forbid. It was terrible, terrible injury. All right. So when you move beyond that, though, you know, even after you talk to him and now reflecting back at how everything landed, because it's pretty much a consensus that had he not got hurt, he probably would have went first overall. Let me ask you this. Does it feel a little bit like destiny?
Yes, it is. Yeah, definitely. That Tua fell in our lap. Like you said, if Tua never got hurt, you know for a fact Tua would have went number one. For some reason, for him to get hurt and for us to draft him without giving up draft picks, destiny for sure. Tua fell right in our lap, and I got a good feeling he's going to show out because Tua got something to prove.
And like, it's crazy because, you know, just like hearing the story from you, obviously we had heard the reports out there that they wanted to be here, but now you had a direct conversation with them. And I've actually seen them. I've seen the picture you have with you and Tua. The person, I was really impressed with what I saw in terms of his Zoom. I was very, very impressed with his professionalism, but in terms of his tape and what he's put on tape, I'm not a fan of what he's put on the tape. I'm hoping he improves this year.
True.
But with Tua, and, you know, I don't know, man. It feels like this was meant to be. And it just feels, and, you know, but even with Josh Rosen, if Josh Rosen grows and develops into a starting franchise quarterback, I don't care if you're white, black, purple, yellow, orange, or aqua. Just give me elite play at that position. Because let me ask you this. Were you a fan of Ryan Tannehill?
Man, I love Tannehill. You know, he just had a problem of getting hurt, you know what I'm saying? Because we didn't really have a good offensive line, first of all, for him. You know, I was a good fan of him, but I was not that into him like I'm into Fitzpatrick. But Tannehill was okay, though. We just didn't have an offensive line to let him, you know, get that ball out there on time. You know, that's what's the problem, you know?
Agreed. All right, so let's get into a little bit of training camp today, brother. You want to go over some of the training camp reports with me here quick?
Yeah, go ahead. Let's do it.
All right. So just everyone, I want to show from Ian Rappaport. It said the Dolphins have informed Kalen Ballage that they are releasing him, 2018 fourth-round pick. He had 74 rushes and just 135 yards last season. That's not very good. So just to confirm with you guys, there you go, right before your eyes. And we went over a little bit there. It's not really a surprise after, you know, a guy who averaged 1.8 yards per carry last year, historically low numbers. You know, he had to show up and show out from day one at training camp, and it sounded like he struggled from day one. So, anyways, let's get into today. So it said this was by far the most uneventful practice of camp, with no more than 20 total snaps in full team 11-11 drills and no explosive plays. But there was, once again, a quarterback, Tua Tagovailoa highlight. On one play, he scrambled 18 yards up the middle, avoiding two defenders. The fact Tua Tagovailoa has regained his mobility 9 months after major hip injury is very concerning. Is very encouraging. My bad. One of his Alabama-based doctors, Lyle Kane, said the CAT scan of his hip was, and I quote, perfect. So encouraging news. And like I said, when everyone was about to jump off a ledge even at the prospect of drafting this kid, I told everyone, Paris, I said, listen, he's 22. He has time on his side with healing. You know, it's different when you're close to 30 as an athlete or on the other side of 30, because even when you're not an athlete, you start to feel it a little bit more when you wake up in the morning. So it's nice to see he's healing.
Yes.
So it goes on to say here that the Dolphins have felt comfortable enough with his hip, his mobility to use plays that maximize his ability to move inside and outside the pocket. So that means, guys, they're seeing the footwork. They're seeing him climb the pocket. We've highlighted his mobility on the bootlegs and such. He's putting in the work right now, and it looks like he's got a clean bill of health. He wasn't lying to anyone, because I know there were some people out there trying to spin a narrative, maybe he's telling people he's healthy because they're trying to cash in as high as they can in terms of a draft pick, but clearly Tua Tagovailoa wasn't lying. It goes on to say Tagovailoa completed a screen to Chandler Cox for a 25-yard gain, but neither he nor Ryan Fitzpatrick nor Josh Rosen threw many passes during this practice day of the camp. It talks about how 3 players weren't at practice today, one being Devontae Parker, and it's rumored there's not an injury involved. My boy, Kirk Merritt, missed another practice, which is not good as a UDFA, and it has been confirmed he has a minor hamstring injury, but he is expected back. And then Patrick Laird is still experiencing pain from that shoulder injury he received a few practices ago trying to catch a Tua Tagovailoa screen pass. So cornerback Xavier Howard was working on the sideline again, and he remains on the COVID-19 list for the 15th consecutive day. He also is still on the PUP list for the physically unable to perform list after December knee surgery. And it goes right here. Earlier today, Kalen Ballage walked off the field slowly with trainers. So, I mean, there might have been an injury involved too as to why he was waived. Linebacker Sam Egwavine also walked off, but under his own power with an undisclosed ailment. It talks about how Jakeem Grant, Ricardo Lewis, who are both dealing with injuries that aren't too serious, were working out on the exercise bike. So it was pretty thin at wide receiver today in 11-11 drills when they were passing the football. And Preston Williams did return today after one of his rest maintenance days. Isaiah Ford and Matt Collins also have had good moments in camp, and Chester Rogers had made a bunch of catches. So, you know, you're seeing these guys even on slow days, they're still showing up, and people are still making mention of how they showed off and showed out. Talks about Gary Jennings. You know, he might have caught a touchdown pass on Monday, but he has had a quiet camp and still faces an uphill climb to stick. Matt Cole finally makes a report, and he is a candidate for the practice squad, nothing more apparently, because it is expanded to 16 players. Talks about how Coach Flores on Wednesday raised the possibility of keeping as many 7 receivers, which is what I've been telling you guys. I've been telling you because of the injury durability. We got durability issues to Parker. You know, he's only had one healthy season. Preston Williams is coming off a major injury. Jakeem Grant has had durability issues his whole career. So, Matt Collins, if he does slide in at that 6th spot, he's had durability issues his whole career. So maybe carrying a 7-1 isn't really a bad idea. So it goes on to say how Flores has had reps at the last 2 days of training camp, and he's trying to resemble more game situations. And it said how Saul McKinley was flagged in one-on-one work against Devon Godshot today. So really the first negative we've ever heard from Saul McKinley out of camp. It said Durham Smythe had a reception Wednesday and had a solid camp. He's also been displaying his hands. I sat in on his Zoom session today with Dolphins media, and he highlighted his work with Gesicki, has improved running routes and also work on his hands because they're trying to find a more balanced, versatile attack from the tight ends so they're not getting picked up on their tendencies, which is what we've talked about before, because Durham Smythe, you pretty much know if he's coming on the field, he's going to be used as an inline blocker. And if Gesicki comes on the field, he's probably going to be in the slot out wide, or if he lines up on the line of scrimmage, he's going to probably end up just coming out of the back, shedding off a block and then coming out and making a catch. So it goes on about how Durham Smythe had a reception Wednesday and he continued to glow. So that's good for him because Adam Shaheen has also come on strong this past week. Looks like he's a good pickup. And then we've seen Nate Weeding and Chris Myrick have both caught touchdown passes from Tua Tagovailoa as well. Talks about Jason. It must be a short day, Paris, because he even talked about Jason Sanders hitting field goals from 47 yards, 52 yards, and 52 yards today. So, kind of a slow day at camp from what we go off. And, you know, they are expected to be off tomorrow. And then they're going to be back at practice on Friday in Davie. Right. And then on Saturday, Paris, it's going to be the first official scrimmage at Hard Rock Stadium.
Yes.
So the football is starting to happen, brother. Any thoughts you have on anything I went over there?
You smell it.
You can feel it, huh? You can feel it, huh?
Yeah.
How excited are you, brother? You must wake up every day, get out of bed. You take your Miami Dolphins bed sheet off. You get out of bed. You put your feet in your Miami Dolphins slippers. You put on your Miami Dolphin robe. You get your coffee in your Miami Dolphin cup, and you just dream about Miami Dolphin football, right, brother?
I think you're right about that. You're definitely right. Man, you're definitely right. I got my Miami Dolphin truck out there, and if I can, I would just get a pillow, lay on the back of it, and just sleep and dream of Dolphins. Football season.
That's hilarious. That's awesome, man. So let's go over what the Sun Sentinel said today because they had a couple of key observations.
Yeah, go ahead.
So they talked about Jesse Davis was riding an exercise bike today instead of running sprints with the entire team running gassers. So that wasn't mentioned in the last report. And here's the thing for you, Paris, and it's not mentioned here. When they were running gassers today, Tua Tagovailoa was ahead of the pack.
No.
So there you go, man. I don't know if people you don't got to be worried about that hip, huh?
That's it. I keep telling you, he got something to prove.
There it is. So it goes on to say Chandler Cox delivered a 20-yard run during the second 11-11 period, sprinting through the gut of Miami's third defensive line. So third team defensive line. So he beat but that's good to see that coming from a fullback. Linebacker Kalen Johnson blew up a screen pass to Myles Gaskin in the backfield, producing a loss on the play. Linebacker Trent Harris, who was signed the hours before we released Curtis Weaver, don't get me started on that, recorded a sack today on Tua Tagovailoa, who is rarely sacked because of his above-average pocket presence. Well, there you go. So there you go. A new signing showing up. It goes defensive end. Emmanuel Ogbah and Shaq Lawson were dominant during one-on-one drills against Miami's offensive linemen. Wow. They usually hold their own, but they were unblockable during Wednesday's practice. And I don't know if you saw yesterday, Paris, but apparently Emmanuel Ogbah and Shaq Lawson were dominant in 11-11 drills and one-on-ones yesterday as well. So those could be some huge, big free agent pickups for us, man. I mean,
for sure.
I've highlighted, and this is something for you to watch for this year, Paris.
Oh, yeah.
Emmanuel Ogbah, I've highlighted. He's got that rare blend of athletic size, but he's also got that power. He's got that good bend to his edge. And, I know this isn't a defense that prioritizes sacks coming from one player. It's a team effort up front. But don't be surprised, Paris. He only signed a 2-year contract. And I told everyone I think it's because he knows he's going to cash out in this scheme and under Brian Flores. And don't be surprised if he is our first double-digit sack getter in a few years.
I won't be surprised. You're right.
Watch out for him, brother. He's going to – when you're live, I want to hear what you see. I want to hear your feedback of what you see when you watch that guy live this year when you're in attendance, brother.
For sure.
So a big performer from last year has started to show up over the last week in training camp when people are calling him out. Cornerback Nick Needham pulled down an interception during one-on-ones against Miami's receivers today. So I actually sat in on Nick Needham's Zoom today. And first of all, he highlighted Noah Benogany, our draft pick at number 30. Wow. He says it's crazy that he's only 20 years old. Dude is physically gifted, and he actually said he's in awe of the rookie. And I didn't know this, but Needham actually talked about he had failed his first conditioning test with the Miami Dolphins, and that was his reason for getting his conditioning right this season. Yeah. And he's now down to a 7.3% body fat body right now. So he's ripping it, man. He said he cut out. Yeah. All fast food. He said he used to see Ocho Cinco out there eating all this crazy fast food, and he said I had to cut it out because I don't have that type of body. But you know what was something interesting he said today, Paris?
Yeah.
That they have a little bit of a game, and I want to hear your thoughts about this. They have a game going on in training camp between all the players in the secondary, and what it is they're basically keeping score for every player. So if you get an interception, you get 5 points. If you get a fumble recovery, or as he called it, a scoop, they give you 3 points. And if you get a pass breakup, if you knock down a pass, break it up, whatever, you get 1 point. And if you drop an interception you should have had, they take away 5 points. So they have a little competition going off because they want to see out of all the guys there, who's going to accumulate the most points by the end of training camp, bro.
But you know what's good about that reason is that these guys playing that kind of game, that just show you, it tells you what Miami Dolphins going to be. Dolphins going to be a whole different football team. I mean, just they're going to go out here. I mean, we're looking at a whole brand new Dolphin teams. I mean, under a good head coach that's going to coach them right. For them to play games like that, it reminds me of reasons back in the days how that we used to play high school football, and then we had some guys that sit on the sideline, some big dudes. They'll say, "Listen, if you make a touchdown, I'm gonna give you a pair of Nikes, or I'm gonna give you $100 if you make a touchdown. If you make a what you call an interception, I'm gonna give you this, I'm gonna give you that." It reminds me back in the days, and we used to play hard to get that. But for these players right now to play that kind of game, that showed you that Miami Dolphins going to be something special. Oh, this year and the years to come.
Yeah, I agree, man. It's really it's nice to see those little competitive battles and those little competitive competitions going on in the room, because you know what it's going to do, Paris? It's just going to drive everyone to be better. You know what I mean? And that's only going to help us as fans enjoy some long-term success, because if anyone out here deserves some long-term success, it's the Miami Dolphins, because we ain't won since 73. So, like anyone, the Patriots didn't deserve that dynasty, let's be honest, all right? No. Okay, they should have gave him 10 years and called it, but they gave him 20, so it's our turn, you know what I mean?
It's our turn.
Let me ask you, what are your thoughts on the Bills? Do you think they're going to be formidable again this year?
You know what? I don't think so. I really got if I want to say it like this, I got my money on the Miami Dolphins. For some reason, the Dolphins going to take, to me, I truly believe, I know I love the Dolphins, but I'm going to go on record to say that Miami Dolphins going to take the East. I mean, Buffalo Bills, yes, that they was good, and then the quarterback flopped in the playoff, and Miami Dolphins going to take the East. I don't see the Buffalo Bills coming up there. No.
So
don't be surprised.
You know what? Honestly, brother, I'm writing an article right now for Dolphins Brawl, and I'll send it to you when I'll probably have it finished in the next couple of days. You might not like what I say about the Buffalo Bills, brother. I'll just put it like that. So let's go over here a little bit. Sun Sentinel did a stock up, stock down today, and they said Bobby McCain continues to play a vital role as team captain and leader on the defense. He's been playing awesome since his birthday last week. He had a pick on his birthday, and all of a sudden, he's been able to keep that play consistent. And one of the positions that a lot of people were worried about in our defense was that free safety role. And if Bobby McCain can step in and, give us more than competent play at that position, we got the making right now. I'm telling you, Paris, we got the making of a scary, scary defense right now. So
most definitely.
Yeah, it's it could be something special, man.
Reason.
Go ahead.
Let me say something about Bobby McCain. I met Bobby McCain last year. It was at training camp, and then I spoke to him. I said, you know what, this year or maybe next year. This was last year when I spoke to him. I said, listen, man, I truly believe you're gonna be awesome safety. Continue doing what you do. You're gonna make it, man. Continue doing what you do. You're gonna be an awesome safety. And then we see in this article that he's stepping up like a leader, like a captain. I mean, I'm very happy to hear that. Let's go, Bobby McCain. Let's go.
Yeah, man. It's because you
deserve it,
especially when you encounter these players like you do, and you share that energy with them, right? It kind of leaves a little bit of a tie to the player with you, right? So
yes,
you want to see them be as successful as possible, right? I've never personally met Bobby McCain. I wasn't happy with his play last year, but but his play this year, it looks like it might step up a little bit of a notch from what we've been hearing over the last week in training camp. He's been showing up and showing out since his birthday, and what you want to see, especially in training camp, let alone when the games start, is in any sport, Paris, you want to see consistency. That's what makes players great. That's what makes players Hall of Famers, is consistently playing at a high level. So it's good to see, man. It's good to see. So it goes about, and here you go, brother. This article came out earlier today. Stock down, Dolphins running back Kalen Ballage already faced an uphill climb at his position group, but after 2 straight runs during Wednesday's practice, Ballage left the field as the trainer held his helmet. And as we now know, with my boy Myles Gaskin stepping up, brother, Kalen Ballage, guys, if you're just tuning in, has been released by the Miami Dolphins, or should I say has been informed he's going to be released by the Miami Dolphins. So Myles Gaskin looks like he has assumed that running back 3 role, because Patrick Laird is also sidelined right now. And the top performers listed today in camp, number 1 was rookie quarterback Tua Tagovailoa, and it said he broke free for a run that was about 20 to 25 yards during 11-11s. If quarterbacks were alive, Tagovailoa would have been tackled, though, it does say. But the overlying positive for the play, Tagovailoa continues to show the scope of his recovery from his hip injury suffered last November. He moves well and was able to juke a couple of defenders, showing off some deceptive speed along the way. It's still early, but Tagovailoa does not appear to have any glaring or lingering health concerns following his injury. Number 2, performers of the day was Shaq Lawson and Emmanuel Ogbah. They continue to wreak havoc on the Dolphins tackles during one-on-one drills. During Tuesday's practice, both players combined for 3 sacks and at least 3 tipped passes in 11-on-11 work. And I believe yesterday they combined for they had 2 sacks each. So great to see. And then it goes on. Number 3, like we highlighted, signed hours before we released Curtis Weaver, outside linebacker Trent Harris. He quickly got back into the mix with his second practice and sacked Tua Tagovailoa 11-11 drills. So, like we've highlighted, with the weakness we have at edge with the loss of Vince Beagle and Curtis Weaver, it's good to see that someone that came in hours before Curtis Weaver is stepping up. And yeah, just, today was a light day, guys. They just emphasized conditioning. They ran gassers at the end of practice. And like I said, Tua was ahead of the pack each round of gassers they did. And that was confirmed by Josh Tolentino of The Athletic today. So, yeah, man, it's great to see the health is there. And it's great to see guys are stepping up right now, Paris.
Man, that's awesome.
I wanted to actually ask you something before we continue on here with a few more articles.
Yeah,
I love the picture you have of you and Brian Flores. I believe you're under a little bit of a tarp there. Can you give me the background on that picture?
Yeah. That's really funny. It was at Super Bowl weekend. I believe it was NFL Experience. I was there. I was wearing my Dolphin attire, my clothes, and I was making a joke with a friend of mine, so another Miami Dolphin fan. I saw this guy walking with his 2, and I turned around and I was joking. I was just playing around because I'm a comedian. So I said, "Look here, that look like Brian Flores right there. Yeah. Look at him walking." And then actually, that Brian heard me talking, screaming out. And my friend tapped me on the shoulder and said, Paris, that's Brian Flores for real. I said, yeah, right, for real. So Brian came up on me and tapped me a little bit on my shoulder and said, how you doing? I see you got your Miami Dolphin. I'm like, it's like my mouth dropped if I saw Michael Jackson. So I turned and look at him, and he looked at me, and he said, "Do I want to take a picture?" I said, "Yes." Okay. So we ended up taking a picture. Then after Brian Flores went into the this Miami thing, Miami Arena thing, I turned towards my friend and said, "You know what? Next time, I'm not going to joke. You know, that guy did look like Brian Flores. I just was joking, but that was really him. So I was excited to get a picture with him. I mean, the way it went down, it was funny, but thank God I got a picture with him. Test 1 2 1 2.
So sorry about that.
That's okay.
Who's been the best Dolphin that you've encountered in all the Dolphins that you've encountered?
And you know I'm about to say, right?
Dan Marino, right?
You know I'm about to say. Marino, you know, oh man. When I met Dan Marino, it was like a dream. I had my football helmet with me. And then I said to myself, one day I'm gonna get Dan Marino to sign it. So that day I had my football helmet with me, and then I ran into him, and Dan Marino saw me. He saw me in my linebacker Miami Dolphin outfit. He turned and said, "Whoa, you really love your Miami Dolphins?" I said, "Man, Dan Marino, I love you too." He said, "Come on." So me and him both took a picture. He signed my helmet. I mean, Dan Marino, man, because I grew up watching Dan Marino. So it was like Santa Claus to a child. It was beautiful. I'm telling you, man. Danny boy, huh? Yes, I love him.
Have you met any Dolphins that were kind of like, you could tell they kind of just didn't, they were kind of like not standoffish, but they kind of just really were like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I did. It was, you won't believe, but he finally woke up and realized that you know what, man, I'm a player, and these are Miami Dolphin fans. I gotta recognize them, and you won't believe Fitzpatrick.
Really?
Fitzpatrick. Yeah. He was when I came up to quarterback Fitzpatrick, he was acting funny, a little bit, because I was wearing the other Fitzpatrick that went to Pittsburgh. I was wearing his jersey, and I thought that quarterback Fitzpatrick was joking. He said, I don't know about that. I know about the name on the back of that jersey, but that number, that's not me. And I said, are you for real? Then Fitzpatrick woke up and says, you know what, man, I'm just playing with you, man. Welcome. We love you. Yeah. Yeah, he sometime, but Fitzpatrick came around. He was real cool.
That's surprising, man, because he seems like such a cool guy, eh? Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that was a little bit surprising. So let's keep it moving here. Let's go into what the Palm Beach Post said today, and then we actually do have some roster you can't call them transactions yet, but some little interesting roster tidbits. But we'll go over this first. So the Palm Beach Post with their Tua tracker today, they said even in condensed preparation for the regular season, the Dolphins can't keep their foot on the gas pedal every day in camp. There are bound to be dog days. Wednesday, National Dog Day, was one such time. The Dolphins practiced for only a little more than an hour and a half, but there was little 11-11 action, little to be gleaned on progress being made by quarterback Tua Tagovailoa. Most of the time was actually spent on individual work. The practice was punctuated with closing sessions of wind sprints, which again we've highlighted. Tua Tagovailoa was leading those guys. So they basically said he took 8 mostly inconsequential snaps during team drills. It said he began by hitting Myles Gaskin, who's clearly running back 3, who has had a good camp for a short game. That was followed by incompletions to Malcolm Perry and then Matt Cole. Gary Jennings, who has not really stood out in camp, they've said, couldn't hang on to a pass from Tagovailoa. Then the most eye-catching play involving Tagovailoa was a handoff to Chandler Cox, the one we highlighted earlier, where he broke out for about 20 yards. So it said Tagovailoa's final 2 throws were short passes to Myles Gaskin and Gary Jennings, who held on to it despite cornerback Picasso Nelson draped all over him. So then you go. Sandwiched in the middle was a play that might get attention in the film session. Tagovailoa looked to his right and lobbed a check down to Myles Gaskin, who would have then been wiped out in an actual game. Kylie Johnson had Gaskin in his crosshairs the entire time. And here's an interesting thing. Tagovailoa, who's popular in the locker room, can continue to make friends by avoiding such throws on Sundays. Highlights little things elsewhere. Goes off about Jason Sanders. Talks about his field goals today. Talks about who wasn't practicing. And it once again highlights that there is a closed-off scrimmage today. So, again, there was a little bit of a wide receiver struggle today. Preston Williams didn't pop off. Malcolm Perry and Matt Cole had incompletions to them. Gary Jennings dropped a pass. So the struggle today was, even when they did throw the football a little bit, the wide receivers weren't really showing up or showing out today. Wow. And Devontae Parker wasn't there as well. So what are your thoughts on Preston Williams?
I like Preston Williams. I mean, he did well last year. I mean, I truly believe that he's going to do it. I mean, this is practice right now, and Preston Williams is going to show out. He's going to show out, him and Parker. And I truly believe that. I mean, that's going to be the duel right there. He's going to show out.
Let me ask you this. Do you think they could, in the same year this year, do you think we could have 2 1,000-yard receivers between the two of them?
Man, I truly believe that. And then if that happened, I'm going to be celebrating.
The popping champagne, brother?
I'm celebrating. I mean, it's possible. I mean, it could happen. I mean, it's our year. This is our time. We've been waiting too long. It's our year, and I truly believe that this is going to happen. I mean, we got Fitzpatrick, going to start it off. Then later on, hopefully Tua, and this is our year. Miami Dolphins got something to prove this year.
Do you see them making the playoffs this year?
Oh yeah. Yeah, for sure. Not a doubt. We're gonna make the playoff. I tell you what, if we don't make the playoff, you can call my cell phone. I may not answer the phone, but you can call my phone. But we're gonna make the playoff. I truly believe that.
Let me ask you this: in terms of what are your realistic expectations for what they're building here, and how far away do you think they are from a championship?
I think 2021, we're gonna make a run at it. We're not too far away from it. I mean, we got the talent. Like you said, these guys came up with a game in the locker room. I mean, they pretty much challenging each other. We're not too far from it. I truly believe that, and I said it with some co-workers. I said, listen, man, I don't see us in 3 years. I don't see us in 4 years. I truly believe that Miami Dolphins is going to make a run for it in 21. I believe that.
Wow.
Miami will surprise the nation, the world. It's our time.
I like the confidence, brother.
Oh, man, I got Dolphins.
So just a few things I wanted to go over here. First of all, guys, today the Miami Dolphins had Avery Moss, a familiar name that they have cut. They had him in today to visit with the team as they continue to do homework on finding a bit of a pass rush there, depth to the pass rush. They brought in also former University of Miami defensive end Trevon Hill, a former FAU defensive end Tim Bonner for a tryout. But here's the thing that was interesting. The Dolphins made a waiver claim today. They claimed Salvon Ahmed off waivers from San Francisco. And what's crazy about him is he played at Washington, and he was the next man up after Myles Gaskin came to the NFL. And a couple things that I wanted to highlight about Salvon Ahmed, guys. He's got a 4.32 40-yard dash. He ran the football in the Pac-12 really well. So he ran it 165 times in his first 2 seasons, and he had 996 yards, averaged 6 yards per carry, and he had 10 touchdowns. So he can also catch the football. He had 34 catches for 247 yards and averaged 7.3 yards per reception in 2017 and 2018. And he can also return kicks, as he had 14 kick returns for 353 yards in 2017. So you got a versatile player who's got a very, very interesting skill set and athletic profile that the Miami Dolphins claimed off waivers today. So clearly that's why they made room for that's why they got rid of Kalen Ballage, because they wanted to make room for Salvin Ahmed today. Any thoughts on that, Paris?
Yes, man. It's beautiful. You know, sorry to say, Ballage didn't step up. He didn't even step up in practice. I mean, they made room. I mean, Miami Dolphins doing something. They're doing something special reasons.
Yeah. So let me get your thoughts on this, bro. I'm going to bring this image up. So today, shout out to the homie Henry Hunt. They did football game plans power rankings, and they started with their top 50 quarterbacks. And there is a Dolphin from 40 to 50, and it's Josh Rosen. He landed at number 48, and he was behind Brett Hundley of the Cardinals, who hasn't even played a snap. He was just drafted. Case Keenum, who's a career journeyman. He's at the Browns right now. Joe Flacco, who's a former shell of himself. Jordan Tamau, the Chiefs backup. Justin Herbert, who was just drafted by the Chargers. Jordan Love, who was just drafted by the Packers. And Robert Griffin the third, so who's obviously a shell of his former self. What does that say to you about Josh Rosen and basic respect throughout the league right now for Josh Rosen?
I mean, I'm surprised that Josh Rosen made that list. I mean, he up there. I mean, that it just shows that Rosen is still getting respect. And Rosen got something to prove too. You know, he want to get out there and prove that he can be that quarterback. You know, Rosen looking for a chance. You know, I'm not really a Josh Rosen fan, but to see him at 48, wow, that's respect. Reasons that is respect to see Rosen up there with that.
Mm-hmm. All right, brother. You know, we're about to hit the hour mark. Is there anything else you wanted to go over before we end this little broadcast here?
Yes. Let me just send a few shots out. Can I do that, Reason?
Of course. Go ahead.
Give shouts out to Ellie Goodman. Awesome Ellie Goodman. I mean, she's one of my administrators at Dolphin Nation 305. Awesome. I mean, dad, hard female that love the Miami Dolphins like I love the Miami Dolphins. I also want to give shout out to TPP, Danny, Johnson, and Pedro, Keith, Kim, Jen, each and every one of them. Y'all continue doing what y'all do. Y'all rock. And like I always say, you know, this is our year, and we do this, and let's go Miami Dolphins. Let's get this season started. I'm ready for some football.
Appreciate you for coming on, homie.
I appreciate being here, Reason.
We're going to have you on sometime during the season because we definitely want to get your thoughts, my friend.
For sure, for sure.
All right, brother. All right, my friend. I appreciate you joining me tonight, and I hope you have a good night, my friend.
Hey, saying to you, fins up, Miami Nation. Love you.
And guys, I want y'all to go follow Dolphin Nation 305 on on Facebook, and go follow Paris Love on Instagram at Paris Love 318. And I've dropped the StreamYard link in the comment section. I want to get a couple of your thoughts, guys, on how training camp was today, the light day it was, and I also want to get your guys' thoughts on our first official big scrimmage coming up at Hard Rock Stadium. So I've dropped the link. I see Rhino sits there. I see the usual homies are there. So I'm inviting a couple of you guys to come on right now. Let's talk a little about what you guys saw today. We'll open it up to Miami Dolphin fans before I get out of here. We'll just give you guys a little bit of time here. We'll do maybe about a half hour of a little bit of a round table here. So if you're out there right now, I'll give you guys a few minutes to come back here and join. and we can talk a little Miami Dolphins football. It was a slow day, guys. There wasn't very much going on, so it is what it is. We are off tomorrow, so there won't be any Zoom sessions to follow along with, anything like that. And, I really wanted to also talk about Kavon Frazier today because he had a very, very powerful Zoom session when I sat in on that. I found myself in awe of him in terms of when I should have been typing. I still managed, to get a bunch of the highlights out, but when the whole Jacob Blake thing came up today, and he just talked about how I'm an African American, I have a nice car, I'm scared that if I get pulled over, that could happen to me. I mean, you could literally hear the heartbreak in Kavon Frazier's voice, and if you guys didn't know, Kavon Frazier is very involved, with the whole Black Lives Matter movement, with protesting, all of that. So. It was just really, I do implore all of you guys to go back and watch Kavon Frazier today. You could hear it in his voice, and even especially when he talked about his daughters. So he brought up an incident about how that was him when he was young, when he was 10 years old, and the police thought he had a gun on him when he was just an innocent kid going to Christian school. So, but when he really talked about his daughters and highlighted, that could have been me in the car with my daughters. It was really heartbreaking stuff to hear. And, I gotta send respect out to Kavon Frazier, man. That was really, it was a tough one to hear. What's going on, boys?
How y'all doing?
It's good, Reason.
What's up?
How's everyone doing tonight?
It's going, man. It's going, man. I was looking at the NBA slate. They boycotted the whole day. Mm-hmm. Major League Baseball is doing the same thing right now as well.
Yeah. Right now, the NBA is in a meeting to see if they're going to cancel the rest of the season.
Well, I mean, at a certain point, people need to realize that protesting is designed to disrupt.
Yeah.
And, at a certain point, we have to say, I was watching what Chris Webber was saying earlier, and he said, if not now, when? And the problem is, if we keep putting this on the back burner and we keep paying, paying lip service, and we keep saying, this is all bad, but, we will make progress. And at a certain point, we have to say, like, we're done waiting. Like, why do we have to wait on justice? Why do we have to wait on freedom when other people in this country have it? And it's not fair. And at a certain point, particularly when you talk about the athletes, they essentially, when anytime LeBron James or Giannis or any of these guys takes the court, right, that is a lot of money on the court. Mm-hmm. In terms of not just what they make, but in terms of broadcasting, ads, in terms of jersey sales, things like that. So for them to take themselves off of the field of play is directly affecting the money. And when you directly affect the money, as we know with Washington football team, if you directly affect the money, that's when people will start paying attention. So good on them for doing what they're doing.
I agree with the whole thing, because you got to look at it. It's upsetting. You have 3 officers there, and you can't get him down before he gets to his car. And then when he gets there, you're going to shoot him in the back 7 times in front of his kids.
In front of the children.
Yeah, but you see the smear campaign going on right now? All they're doing is bringing up his history. And some people are actually out here using his history to justify it. And it's crazy because it's crazy, bro. Because, I mean, there was one. I saw someone today, they brought up, they showed the image and stuff. I guess he was charged for we'll use the P word. I'm not going to, it's just awkward for me to say it. He was charged for a P word of a 14 to 16-year-old minor. And the P word kind of rhymes with detention. Well, not really. But he beat the case. He beat the case, and people are still out here trying to smear him with it. And that's what's crazy to me.
We know that's the playbook. right?
Yeah,
Like
well,
anytime something happens to someone, the first thing they do is talk about things that happened 10 years ago. But we live in a country of laws and courts and rules and rule of law, and we have a process that dealt with that. But that process and that particularly those charges do not correlate with the actions taken upon him, which is something that even in war, if you did that in a war to somebody, that's a war crime.
Yeah.
That's a war crime on like that. I don't get it, man. I don't get it.
And what's crazy to me is you could tell two things. One, she's trigger happy, and two, she's not built for that kind of a conflict. She's not built to handle that, and some people just aren't. And the worst thing to do with people that aren't built for handling those type of conflicts or those type of situations is putting a magazine with 17 bullets in it, 18 bullets, and putting it into the pistol and putting the pistol in her hand.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting because anytime, let's say anytime an airline pilot flies drunk, what do they do immediately? Hey, we got to take your license away. You can't do this anymore. If you're a surgeon and you perform on someone and you're under the influence and they find out, oh, you can't do surgery anymore. We're going to take your license away. You can't do this anymore. You pose such a threat to the public good. You can no longer do this profession. Yet, when it comes to police officers abusing their power, abusing the public trust, and they have allegations that are verified against them, how come they can just, if not just keep their job, even if they lose their job, they can skip town and get a job doing the same exact thing?
There's an easy answer. There's an answer to that, but you don't want to hear it.
It's a fraternity.
No, it's beyond that. It's the unions. The unions will protect their people. They're paid to protect. That's what they're there to do.
Haven't I said that since day one? Get rid of the unions.
You can't do that. It's America.
Can't do it.
There are things that have to be reformed, but there's two sides to every story. I feel sorry for this man and his family. And I don't know if he was under the influence or what the situation was before or after the camera the viewing. But when an officer tells you to stop, to lay down, you put yourself in a bad place.
That's true.
And I don't want to sit here and say that this side is right or this side is wrong or vice versa, but there needs to be an investigation. There seems to be one going on. Whether it's fair or not, I have no idea. But my concern by watching the video, besides the vulgarity of it, of the ending of it, is my question is, why was he going in the car?
In the car, to the front seat.
It scares me.
But here's my thing, Rhino. First of all, you should be trained because you're carrying a firearm in the public. You shouldn't even
made it to the car.
Hold on a sec. You should be trained where you can do what I'm about to tell you. And second of all, at the range she was at, she should have done it anyways. Brother, one pop to the kneecap and it's over. He's on the ground, and get him before he goes to, if you're really that worried, get him before he goes to the ground, because you know what? Below the waist, at least it's assault, bro, with a deadly weapon as opposed to attempted murder. That's all I gotta say, bro. If you're really that scared, you should be trained to be able to do that, but
they don't. They don't train.
Being accurate enough. Like they should be trained to disarm. Disarm with the here's my thing. You should have a certain mark, like how you do in the Army. You should have a certain marksman declaration. Like you should have certain marksman training if you're gonna be in a public forum carrying a weapon, because we all know, right? Like I'm sure, like the units that get sent in, like in terrorist or shooter situations, I'm sure they have marksman training. But these guys should have marksman training the equivalent to what the Army's getting, just because, dude, you're in a public forum, bro. Like it's not just for the one man's safety; it's for everyone's safety. Like I should be able to trust that, you know what? They're going to have the ability to disarm someone without taking a life, even if they use their gun.
But they tried that. From what I understand is that he was on the ground on the passenger side on the back, and somehow he got away. And I'm not sitting here defending what happened with Mr. Floyd. I think what happened to him was disgusting. But when you are in an environment as a police officer, peacekeeper, where you cannot, for example, put your knee on the back of someone's back or neck to control them for 5 or 10 seconds, you're limiting the safety of everyone. I never worked as a police officer, but I worked in the psych field for 9 years. I was the gorilla that was kept in the corner. And the only way that you can do those things is to get physical with people. And unfortunately, the environment that we've created in this country, the good police officers cannot do their jobs, and the bad police officers are just taking over, it seems like. I don't know what else to tell you.
I didn't read the whole report, but I didn't see any tasers being pulled out.
See, I've heard
I don't
that,
think there was any.
But I've heard that he did get tased. But here's my thing. Is she that, because there's a female officer, is she that ignorant to the situation of the world right now and the current, like, did she really, and beyond of what's gone on, she didn't even have the foresight to think everyone's got a camera nowadays. Like
everyone's
got a camera nowadays.
Except for the police, they didn't have any.
Hey, reason worse than that is there a God complex where I can get away with anything?
Yeah, of course. Bro, I talked about this before.
But also goes to, like, if that was like a 21-year-old like white college female student, right? Would she have gotten like 7 in the back?
Bro,
like, that's my question.
We've seen it.
Hold on, didn't you see the shooter yesterday?
Bro.
Did you see the shooter yesterday in Kenosha? Did you see the white shooter? Buddy, the white guy. But worse than that. Buddy, there's reports that he was high-fiving cops and they were hydrating him, bro.
Bro.
He shot and killed 2 people, bro.
And we're out here talking about,
well, that's what I'm scared of.
The bad cops are making the job hard for the good cops, but the problem is the system allows both to exist.
Yeah, that's your problem. So
if we have a system where you have good cops who actually want to do the job right and understand that their role is as a peacekeeping kind of community force, as opposed to this kind of oppressive, kind of almost like a gang to a certain extent.
Yeah.
If you allow the bad side to continue to exist, you will continuously be lumped in with the bad side. So it is the imperative of those who are on the good side to root out the bad side and be more forceful than the people on the street. Regular people, be more forceful about rooting the bad element out. But until that happens, it's going to be a message that universally that covers all police. So the good has to, at a certain point, you reach these points where there's not a lot of nuance. You can go one way or you can go the other way. And a lot of the good police officers in this country, they need to go one way and say, you know what, these guys are making our job harder.
Yeah, but Havoc, if I was the second or third officer, and I assuming the female was doing the lead, she was nearest to him. Mm-hmm. If that guy went, I don't care, black, white, blue, it doesn't matter. They're going into a car reaching in.
Yeah,
I would have shot him as a cop. How we got there may be an interesting story, but the fact that he is ignoring orders, opening a door, going inside, could be reaching in to kill me and my aunt. It's a very fine line in an individual instance. I'm not talking about everything we're dealing with. I agree with what you're saying. And if I felt that I couldn't do my job anymore, I'd have to leave. And I'm worried that we're going to have less and less people to do the job, and the ones that are going to be staying are not going to be very good. And I'm scared. I'm scared for our society. I'm scared things are going to go back to the way they were back in the late 60s and 70s, which were horrible. 2,100 people dying a year in New York. We can't handle that. We just can't handle that.
Yeah, but they're just because we don't use the current existing model of policing doesn't mean that. I'm saying just for the future. Just because we're not going to use the current model of policing as we currently know it doesn't mean that we don't want a model of policing, right? It's not apples and oranges. We want good,
nothing,
qualified police in our communities.
Right.
But that's exactly what we want. We
need
good,
less
qualified
deadly
policing in our communities.
They need to have some ability to enforce law without death. There needs to be some technology advancement here, some besides just a taser. I don't know,
I don't have the answers either. And that's none of us have the answer.
So
that's the sad thing.
Let's keep it moving. Let's go to we're gonna go down this massive rabbit hole. Let's be honest with ourselves. I want to get everyone's thoughts because me and Paris covered it earlier. What are your guys' thoughts that Kalen Ballage has been informed by the Dolphins that he is being released? And it's clear cut that one of my declarations might have come true that Myles Gaskin has assumed that running back 3 role and has pushed Kalen Ballage out of the room. What are your guys' thoughts?
I mean, it looks like Matt Collins is going to Wingstop and saying I'm part-time right now because I'm out here balling and homie out here in the running back room just wasn't getting the job done. And, this is something I think I've been consistent about since I've been coming on here is what has this guy shown you that some of the people that are caping for him are caping for him? And in my opinion, he, be honest with you, didn't really show you a whole lot in college either.
Yeah,
and we're out here trying to invest this time and resources into him, and it just seemed like misallocated resources, in my opinion. So, at a certain point, it had to happen. He was on borrowed time. We all know that.
Are you surprised it happened this quick?
No, it should have. Honestly, this should have been something done a while ago. Yeah. Let's just be honest. I mean,
I was a little surprised.
I mean, averaging less than. He broke one more tackle last season than me.
Bro, you love every time we talk about it.
And like I told Havoc, he has one more highlight in his career than me and Havoc do.
Combined.
That's true. Bro, this whole round table combined. Never mind just 2 of you.
But no, I think Laird needs to hurry up and get back on the field because this guy that we picked up, if he's that multi-talented with that much athleticism, could take the fourth back and leave Laird out, especially with him being banged up.
Yeah, because
like you hinted at, reasons probably the injury and the signing of this guy, or they made room for the guy.
Yeah, man, and now with Savon Ahmed coming in, you got 4.32 speed. He's displayed hands. He's displayed his ability to handle the ball coming out of the backfield, and he, like I said, he can even be used on special teams. So, for a coaching staff and a team that preaches versatility, if Salvon Ahmed, who we picked up from waivers today, guys, from San Francisco, if he can perform, then he's kind of the perfect fit for these guys in terms of versatility, right?
So what is it, Howard?
Say about Laird. His one thing last year is he made plays out of the backfield.
Yeah.
So it's Howard,
and apparently he displayed the hands everyone told me Ballage had.
Exactly.
So we're thinking Howard, Breda, Gaskin.
Yeah,
will be carried forward.
Yeah, it sounds like it. And did you guys hear Flores today? Flores today saying that what I've been saying, carry 7.
Running backs. Receivers. Yeah.
Receivers, yeah.
So,
I mean, that makes sense. Especially if you have wide receivers that have other roles on the team. Like if Matt Cole makes the team as a wide receiver, we know his role is full-time special teamer. And he'll get in every once in a while. So I could 100% see that.
You know, kind of stood out to me today, Havoc, was the report today identified that Matt Cole is going to be in the probably going to be designated to the practice squad. But even with Kirk Merritt missing a couple of days, every day he's mentioned, they don't say he's going to be on the practice squad. It's like they're saying they're giving him the chance, ball out this camp. You know what I'm saying? Like, so
I mean, Kirk Merritt might just be showing a little bit more than Matt Cole. And Matt Cole, I think we've talked about this earlier. He was really going to have to make his bones on special team if he was going to make the roster. So keeping him on the practice squad, I think they're probably going to put that special designation on him. So, he doesn't get lost to other teams. But clearly, they want guys that can play the position. rather than holding a spot for a special team guy.
And reason, if you're the quarterback of the future, you kind of are in your coach's ear a little bit. And remember, he's been working with Merritt a lot. He could be telling coach, you should see what this guy does with me when I'm throwing
with
on the
Jennings.
ball.
Yeah, I feel like that same with Jennings. That's why Jennings keeps getting opportunities too.
Yeah, they're also very young assets. I mean, just from a roster standpoint, I mean, these are dudes that are very young on very cheap contracts, and if they're already on your depth chart at the bottom of your roster, you might be willing to make that make that leap on their potential ability. Because if a guy like Kalen Ballage can cash checks, why can't Kirk Merritt?
and let's be honest too, like I've highlighted, even with Albert Wilson with durability issues out and Alan Hearns, who's had durability issues in the past, opting out anyways. If you go through the guys who have stood out as our top 6, I pretty much think we can all agree that it's Devontae, then it's Preston, then it's Jakeem, then it's Isaiah Ford, then it's Malcolm Perry, and then it's Matt Collins at 6. Right? Well, let's be, if we're honest with ourselves, right?
Yeah,
but here's the thing, bro. 4 of those 6 guys have durability histories.
That's true. Especially, and particularly when I talk about Hollins, it's not really a statement on his play. He's just on the training table.
Oh,
for a guy that was already a bottom of the depth chart guy, he's on the training table an awful lot. Now, if he makes the team, we might be talking about Matt Collins, franchisee of Wingstop, not even working the fire anymore. Wingstop, owning a Wingstop at the Plantation Commons across the street from the hospital in Plantation.
Yeah, but if he makes the team, he's going to buy the Wingstop.
Yeah, man.
He's a franchisee. He just said a franchisee.
Oh, okay.
But here's the thing though. I could see us keeping 7 active receivers.
Yeah, and then stashing
them.
Yeah. That's what I think so too. I would go 7 active, and out of the protection spots, I would probably, if Merritt doesn't make the team, him and Matt Cole would be the 2 receivers that I protect.
But even if he does, I would probably stash 3 of them on practice squad. Period. Putting players in when they get cut from other teams.
Who are you going to stash behind them, though?
Yeah.
Gary Jennings?
No, like I said, when they start cutting down rosters, if there's anybody that you think that you looked at through the, when you were checking out players in the draft.
Yeah.
You should stash a couple of them on practice squad just in case,
You see a name you like. And I still, guys, this is, I don't know if y'all remember back. Who was I banging the table for in day 3 out of SMU? James Proche from SMU, the slot receiver, man. I was banging the table for this guy. Take him. And instead we took Blake Ferguson. And much love to the homie Blake Ferguson. But with a guy like James Proche on the board, looking at what we have right now, and I believe even Tyler Johnson, who everyone knows I was super high on coming out, and he went to the Buccaneers. He was an absolute beast in Minnesota next to Rashad Bateman, especially in the end zone. Those are 2 guys who could have operated out of the slot. Because think of it. Let's be honest with ourselves. Jakeem Grant, we've highlighted. He's a boundary guy. That's his bread and butter. Guys, if Isaiah Ford goes down, Malcolm Perry is literally the last guy left right now. We can run out of the slot.
And he's just learning.
Yeah. And then is Mac Hollins' body built for the slot?
No.
On slants across the short intermediate route. Oh boy. Mac Hollins will be. Adrian Gray said, "I gotta stop calling him McDonald's Hollins." Well, he goes across the middle out of the slot, and he'll be working at McDonald's. Never mind Wingstop. The applications, like all positions, will be filled by that time.
What are you talking about? He's probably going to be a greeter sitting in a wheelchair in front of.
Oh, come on now.
Wow.
Yeah, no, it's interesting. I mean, I think just alone. I mean, I can't help but just want to keep an eye on Jakeem Grant because I'm looking for the progress because he always has like an all-pro body. He always has all-pro measurables, but a guy that barely can even start, even when our wide receiver situation wasn't great. for the salary that he has, if you're telling me hold on to Jakeem Grant or take a chance on a Merritt or take a chance on a Jennings, I mean, for me the answer is easy, but I'm just looking for it's just for me. Is Jakeem Grant like if you're in the playoffs and you need a guy to like be on point, on money, and the ball hits him right in the hands, he needs to make that catch. Like, is he that guy? I don't know.
And Adrian Gray pointed out someone else I really like too, Devin Duvernay out of Texas. I was a huge fan of him coming out too. Not as high on him as I was on Prosh and Tyler Johnson as late round picks. But yeah, man, there were day 3 guys that were sitting right there that I think could have made a difference on his team. And shout out to FM. He asked whatever happened to the defensive lineman we picked up from the Ravens. Zach Siler's still there, bro. And before we continue on, I just want to go over a couple things quick. Guys, we got 90 in the room right now. Smash that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't. If you'd like to donate to the channel, paypal.me/Phinside. If you want to become a Patreon to the channel, patreon.com/Phinside the NFL. And as usual, guys, we will shout out all of our Patreons. And that's, of course, starting off with the inaugural Patreons, which was the homie who's up here right now, Rhino Sith and Infinite Trauma. And shout out to Infinite Trauma. He's still going through it a little bit right now. So, Dolphin Nation, thinking about you, homie. Obviously, got to shout out the homie, Mr. Two Bits, Shake Money, Ramon Casillas, Seth, K8, All Day, Joe B. Who else am I forgetting? Fake Spite, 94. Shout out to all of you guys for being Patreons. So, yeah, man, as we continue on here a little bit, how excited are you guys for Scrimmage this weekend? Because I know a lot of people are.
Did he say that, though? Because Omar asked him, and he's like,
it is.
We may or may not. Did someone come out after?
It's been confirmed that it's a scrimmage.
I mean,
excellent.
I mean, we're here to separate the men from the boys now. That's it.
Here's the part I'm not excited about. I don't think we're going to get anything out of it. Hear anything.
No, but you know what? The Dolphins will get the information that they need. I'll say it like that.
I'd be surprised if they don't do something.
Because, I especially, guys like, and I've been critical. I've said things about Byron Jones getting toasted, but he may be a guy, when you get into that game situation, he's shown what he can be. And he's not injured or anything. It's not like he forgot how to be, the one of the best rated press corners in the league. So I'm looking forward to it. Like I said, it's for the boys and the men. It's when they get separated.
When the lights come on.
That's it.
And guys, I also want to shout everyone out because, I'll be shouting out every day because we're climbing every day, but we're at 1,133 subscribers. So we're climbing at about,
wow.
In the last 28 days, we've gained 143 new subscribers. So
nice,
I just want to shout at everyone that's hitting that subscribe button, pounding the like button. The like button has been getting pounded, guys. Like, I'm not going to go.
Don't.
But, but that like button, guys, keep hitting it. It's been great.
Hit it like you know it.
There you go. Hit it like it's lonely and it texted you at 2 a.m. in the morning.
Yeah,
guys, is there anything else you guys want to go over again?
I wanted to talk about Grant. He confused me the other day. I talked about this on Larry's channel. He said in his presser, if I remember correctly, that he ran a lot of slot in college and I can't remember what years he said, but also with the Dolphins, and it confused me. Because I don't see that in him. But he seems to think he can.
He's gotten snaps in the slot.
But he made it sound like he lived in the slot in college. That's the way he made it sound.
Yeah, you can go.
True?
No, man. Oh, no. Is it true that he said that? Yeah, but if you go watch in college in Texas Tech, when he was at Texas Tech, he was killing people on the boundary.
Yeah, he was roasting guys on the outside.
Yeah, but
so wide receiver talking then.
But like I said to Daniel yesterday, right? Just because you're the number one guy or number two guy doesn't mean you're always going to be on the boundary, right? So obviously he's gotten slot reps. Like Devontae Parker is clear cut our number one, and he's gotten slot reps. You know what I mean? Yeah, and he doesn't exactly he has more of a boundary body than he does a slot body, right? Yep. So, Yeah, I mean, you know what? Here's the thing, right? When you play receiver, by the time you get to the NFL, you've probably been tried out everywhere, especially in the early years of the NFL when you come onto teams with more established receivers. Because Jakeem Grant didn't get drafted to be our number one. You know what I mean?
Right, but Jakeem Grant also got drafted with the intention of being a contributor on special teams, particularly the punt and kick return, which those duties have been taken away from him, essentially.
And I know he's jacked, like I know he's ripped, but we joked about Matt Collins. But again, I would have serious durability concerns about Jakeem taking a full 16 games coming out of the slot, guys, at that size. Man. I mean, we've already highlighted how his hand technique, we've highlighted how his hand technique, that's and his add in with his size is why in that first 5 yards coming off the line, he's not effective, and why if you shut him down in those first 5 yards, you basically take him out of the play. But now, even if he gets separation in the slot, man, 260, 250-pound linebackers lighting this guy up over the middle. Free safeties like strong safeties and free safeties stepping up and, getting a little bit of a head start once they read and recognize the ball's in his hands, just lighting up that body. Like, I don't know, man. That's not, over a 16-game period on his body, his frame alone, to me, that's not an ideal situation. And I don't know if he could make it through a full 16 games.
Yeah. And, I think a criticism of Matt Collins is a criticism that can be equally made of Jakeem Grant. It's like durability issues, not necessarily a one or two. Not necessarily a slot guy. Also, you don't want him in slot due to durability concerns. So
what do you think?
What do you do with these guys? I mean, we like guys like at least Jennings profiles as a slot guy. Kirk Merritt profiles as a guy that can be a contributor, I think, in both.
Yeah, I agree with
that. It's and also Kirk Merritt can do the kick and punt returns.
Even Matt Cole, right? Matt Cole's got four. Matt Cole's got like 4.4 speed, right? Like he can.
Matt Cole.
He can come out of the slot. I mean, he can come out of the slot too, right? So
I'm looking at the wide receiver room. I know it's maybe not the popular thing to say, but I'm looking at Jakeem Grant. I'm saying, like, what's your spot? What are you offering outside of you're the fast guy?
That's fair.
Yeah, that's it.
I've highlighted it before. His career, he averages only 200 yards and about 20 catches a year.
There it goes. I think it just has to be said at a certain point. If we're trying to out here talking about playoffs and dynasties and championships, if we're out there on the goal line or whatever 2-yard line, and you got him in the slot on a slant and the ball hits him in the hands, and that thing pops right out. You're gonna feel salty about it.
Yeah, I agree. No, I agree.
Now,
with that.
my biggest, Reason, I want your opinion on this. I'm jacked about our defense with Lawson and Agba, but it kind of worries me that the tackles were getting taken to school.
I mean, it's growing pains, right?
Yeah, man. I said like I expect to see. I said that's why I think the first. Half of that season is going to be a rough go because of the learning curve it's going to be for the rookies, especially if you have 3 on that offensive line. But I mean, Shaq Lawson, EM's highlighted, and Emmanuel Agba I've highlighted, like in terms of how good of a fit these guys are, and plus these guys are NFL veterans who have already proven it on the big stage. I mean, let's be honest, if Agba didn't get hurt last year, he was going to be into the double-digit sack range easily. So
he would have been out of our price range.
Yeah, but I there's going to be days, and I think our defense is just, especially the front, is that much improved right now. So
yeah, I agree. I mean, when you can deploy Agba, Lawson, Wilkins, Godchow,
looks like Strobridge.
I mean, that is a far cry from Charles Harris, Taco Charlton, Avery Moss. I mean, that is a far. I know Avery Moss is back in the building, but that's a far cry from last season.
Avery Moss was the best one of the group.
I mean, that's someone had to be.
You could have made the argument that the best performer before he got hurt last year was Jonathan Ledbetter.
Ledbetter's back in the building. He's healthy.
But I agree, man. It's obviously the improvement across the front seven, and especially off that edge. I mean, because Van Ginkel is versatile, you could move him in the middle or you can move him on the outside. Same thing with Kyle Van Noy. He can move into the middle or he can move on to the outside. So,
yeah,
I mean,
you bring back Trent Harrison. He didn't do too bad down the stretch either.
And it looks like he showed up today.
That's the one guy I'm really interested in seeing is Van Ginkel. I really want to see.
Oh yeah,
I'm in love with this guy. I'm calling him right now. That's the golden boy, bro. And I'm going off his hair.
You think he's the new era? You think he's like the new era Clay Matthews?
Bro. Yeah, bro. I don't know whether to call him golden boy or Goldilocks.
Yeah, from the Saints, right?
No, don't do Goldilocks,
bro. Goldilocks because he locks down any receiver out in coverage.
That's true.
I mean, if he gets the if he's locking down receivers, I'll call him whatever he wants.
Yeah, he's a playmaker, man. Like the way that guy shoots the gaps, man, he's just got a nose for pushing that pocket back, finding the hole and the seam in it, and just getting into the backfield. And he's not bad when he's asked to sit back in the coverage as well, man. Like I keep talking every time I talk about it, I glow about this because I say he's a playmaker. He's a playmaker, and that's you know how rare that is to find at that position.
Did we trade for? He's the one we traded for the Saints, right?
No, that was Beagle.
Oh, Beagle. Okay.
Yeah. Fortunately, Beagle's out for the season.
Hey, yeah, that sucks. He just knows where the football is going to be, and he ends up there.
Yeah, man. It's you know what he has. It's you see They really only talk about it with quarterbacks, but obviously defensive players have. It seems he has that ability where he sees the play before it develops.
Right.
Yeah, and it looks like, kind of like Myles Gaskins. He's just a guy looking for the opportunity to show off.
Yeah, man.
His processing, he processes things fast.
Yeah, and he's got really good read and recognition skills as well. So, yeah, man, I think AVG is going to be real special, man. I think Van Ginkel is a diamond in the rough, and you know what? If I'll tell you right now, if Jerome Baker goes down, good luck taking that Mike spot away from a guy like that. If he gets a shot,
Van Ginkel got the mic.
Yeah, man.
Okay.
Because if you remember when against the Jets last year, when he had that sack that was then offset by the Needham pass interference. Came from the mic, shot the gap from the mic, man. He blitzed, and that's where he got the sack from.
Okay. I'd just be interested in, I guess, what his numbers are against the run, if that's where he primarily would be at.
Oh, like in terms of run stopping? Like
ability? I think he plays out as an edge rusher, is from what I understood.
He plays both. He moved around, right? They moved him onto the edge as an outside linebacker, and they moved him into the middle. That's why me and EM were highlighting the people that would be on Jerome Baker's heels this year was going to be Beagle and Van Ginkel if they gave him the snaps there.
Yeah. I mean, I'd be interested in looking at it, especially this season, because he's going to have all the opportunities. Because Jerome Baker, for a guy that led the team in tackles, I don't think he's got that. I don't think he's got a spot locked down in the starting rotation, if I'm being honest. Because this guy Gruger Hill's out here. Gruger Hill looks like somebody. That's all I'm saying. Like, I'm seeing some of the reports. He looks like somebody. He may be a guy. Him and Van Ginkel may take all them Jerome Baker snaps from last season. So stay tuned.
Yeah, he only had under 200 snaps total last year, Andrew Van Ginkel, if I remember correctly. And I know the majority of them were off the edge. And what's crazy is he had like if I remember correctly, he had like a handful. I think he had like 10 or under 10 snaps from the box. But if you would go back and highlight every single one, he was in the box. He made something happen. That's what I just said. This guy's a playmaker. I don't get it, man. Like, I really feel like he's a Van Noy, where Van Noy you can play off the edge or you can move him into the middle.
Oh man, the Van brothers.
So yeah, there you
Van
go,
out.
brother.
Van
There
You stole that from me.
There you go.
My
Van
God.
brothers. Oh man, coming through with the sacks, the Van brothers.
Yeah, I love that. The Van brothers. Yeah,
If it's not from the left, it's coming from the right.
Yeah.
Van boys.
That's amazing. But you got to remember too, right? He's kind of like what Zach Bond was at Wisconsin too, right? When you go back to Wisconsin, Zach Bond they used on the outside, but then they would give him snaps on the inside, and that was the same thing of what Van Ginkel was at Wisconsin. Literally, Zach Bond replaced Andrew Van Ginkel.
I mean, Wisconsin's on a run with these linebackers. I know that much.
Yeah, man. And the thing is, they're all smart enough where they can do whatever you ask them to do back there because they're all cross-trained.
Hey, Reason, I'm going to have to get out of here. I'm going to say my closing statement real quick. I am completely happy. We've done 100% turnaround, especially on defense, because last year we couldn't name all these players that we're excited about. This year, we're wondering who are we going to have to get rid of.
That's right.
Yeah.
And a credit to EM because, I mean, like if you look at some of the guys he brought in, you talk about the Kamugruger Hills. That was someone when we were on the other platform that we highlighted because the one thing we noticed is he only had about 100 snaps at the linebacker position last year. But when you go look at what he did in those 100 snaps, the man produced, right? And then a name that EM keeps saying to everyone, don't forget Landon Roberts. Don't forget Landon Roberts, right? He's like the little bird in my ear chirping that. So the options at linebacker are very intriguing. My problem is the guys who can play outside in the 3-4, that's where you're starting to get thin if you start hitting injuries. Because it's crazy. The guys, like, we talked about an Andrew Ginkel and we talked about a Kyle Van Noy. They can play both, and they're really the only two guys who can play both. Like Kamugruger Hill, Jerome Baker, Raekwon McMillan, even Landon Roberts, you're going to have them more on the inside. Emmanuel Ogba, you'll stand them up. You'll stand them up on the outside. You're not going to move them inside, right? Like you're going to have them as a 3-4 end, or you could use them standing up as a 3-4 linebacker if you really want to. You don't have, we only have the Van brothers are the only ones who can really play edge and linebacker.
It's interesting because Van Noy is really the cheat code, a guy that is equally good in the run and the pass rush and in pass protection. So much kind of like how Patrick Chung kind of unlocks a lot of things for the New England secondary. I think Van Noy is going to unlock kind of the best combination for our linebackers as well. His versatility, his ability to basically play at basically all spots on the linebacker line.
Like I'm moving him inside on the run, right? Like I'm moving Van Noy inside, and if I'm going to play him on the edge, it'll be in pass. I'll be more inclined in pass rush situations. But even in pass rush situations, you can use Van Noy in the middle. Same thing with Van Ginkel, right? Like you can, you're right, bro. Van Ginkel and the Van brothers, they give you the ability to switch it up because of their versatility, man.
I'm telling you.
Whereas if Raekwon trots out there, you pretty much, they're going to be in a run defense set, right? So play with them, right?
It's interesting when you look at our defensive overhaul. I didn't think people that people thought Raekwon McMillan and Jerome Baker might be an integral part of that, but if you're looking at a linebacker core where you can have the Van brothers in either Gruger Hill or a guy like Landon Roberts who's impressing, well, I mean, that might be it for right now. You may see, McMillan and Baker maybe in a rotational role, but we're not going to lean on them like we did last season, because so far, from what I understand, Raekwon McMillan is working his way down the depth chart. From what I've heard,
we mean down.
Yeah, it's not good for the homie right now.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So, Just look out, the Van brothers and some combination of the Van brothers and Gruger Hill, or perhaps Landon Roberts, might be what they try now in these scrimmages that we're not going to be able to watch.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is
good? What is good, gentlemen?
Man, doing good, man. How you doing?
How you doing with Ballage, man?
Man, I just I just got in my truck, bro, and damn, I saw where I was checking my notifications and messages, and wow, they released him. But they picked up a running back from San Francisco earlier today. I saw that, and that I think probably maybe with Myles Gaskin having the camp that he's having, I think Ballage probably would have been cut either way. But the fact that they picked up this other running back today off waivers from San Francisco, that might have kind of accelerated his departure, so to speak. So it's interesting. But we all saw this coming. If he didn't have a strong camp, we knew it was just a matter of time. So not surprised, but it is what it is.
But it is nice to see Myles Gaskin stepping up with the opportunities being given.
Absolutely. And this other guy, this other guy we picked up today is from Washington as well, bro.
Yeah, I went over him earlier for everyone.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Yeah. Let me ask you this, EM. Do you see because of the injuries we've started to suffer, I know me and you talked about on here about Jerome Baker on the inside. We talked about Camus Gruger Hill, but we also talked about Vince Beagle vying for snaps and Andrew Van Ginkel. And I was just highlighting here earlier that before you joined that when you really look at our linebackers, there's really only two that can slide into the middle but also play the outside edge there a little bit, and that's in terms of Van Noy and Van Ginkel. Do you see Van Ginkel's, if he's healthy this year and has a full season, I highlighted, you'll remember it, if you remember that sack he had in the Jets game before the Nick Needham interference, he came from, the Mike spot when he shot that gap. Do you see Van Ginkel taking on more snaps in the middle this year because of injuries suffered and just based on the talent we have right now? An EM Dolphin fan is gone.
Is he cut out?
Yeah.
I think he did.
Man. I have a question about X. It's confusing me a little bit. How can you be on the pup, on the COVID, riding the bike at Dolphin?
It's hilarious.
Yeah, how are you on the COVID and at practice too?
I don't.
unless the team's trying to, I don't know, cover up something. I don't really know.
At least keep them inside.
Doesn't seem safe, right? Doesn't seem.
It's just like you're on the COVID list, but you're also around the whole team.
Are you there, Em?
Yeah, I'm here, bro.
Did you hear my question to you?
And I'm going through some bad areas, so.
Okay, let me condense it. I know me and you highlighted Andrew Van Ginkel and Vince Beagle taking snaps away potentially in the middle from Jerome Baker, and Camus Gruger Hill's also stepped up too, who we highlighted when we got. Do you see Andrew Van Ginkel getting more snaps in the middle now, especially with Vince Beagle's injury?
Well, I can see, because of Van Ginkel's skill set. We talked about him. We've highlighted his skill set. Plenty. I can still see him getting snaps on the interior, but I think with the emergence of Landon Roberts and Camus Gruger Hill, I'm hearing a lot. I'm hearing a lot of things about Landon Roberts, and so with them stepping up and assuming that role, I think he'll get snaps there, but maybe not as many. I don't see him. And especially how well he's playing on the edge. Apparently, according to Flores, his strength is up. He's able to set the edge, and he's been very pleased with his development this year. This offseason. So I don't know, Van Ginkel. I think with Atlanta Robertson, Kamu Grugier-Hill, and then probably I don't see Jerome. I see Jerome Baker on the probably he'll be on the roster week 1 because of man, I lost my train of thought. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Because of Vince Beagles, him, losing him for the year. And also, I don't think Raekwon McMillan. I think he's another one. It's just I think he's dead man walking as well. His clock is ticking. It's just a matter of time, I think, with him. If it comes down to Baker and McMillan, I think Flores would opt to choose probably Jerome Baker because of even though I like Raekwon McMillan as a player because of his ability, in the run game, Jerome Baker does have he is a more versatile player, So
let me ask you this. Let me ask you this, Em. Does it worry you that we only really have 2 linebackers in Van Noy and Van Ginkel that can play the interior and the outside in that linebacking core? Like if injuries start to pile up?
Well, yeah, I'm glad you said that. If injuries start to pile up, absolutely. But if knock on wood, we have everybody stays healthy. Not so much now because, like I said, the emergence of Atlanta Roberts and Kamu Grugier-Hill, I think they're going to get significant reps on the interior. I think Atlanta Roberts might even start. He might be starting, next to Calvin O. I think because I think Calvin O. will be deployed more. He'll get equals. I think he'll probably get more snaps on the interior. I could be totally off base for that, but I think he will. Because of the presence of Agba and Shaq Lawson on the edge. But
they dominated again today, bro. They dominated again today.
Yeah. Oh, really? Really?
They had 3 between the 2 of them. They had 3 sacks, I believe, and they had 3 tip passes.
Wow. Mm.
Yeah, they're destroying.
Yeah. So yeah. But yeah, if injuries, if somebody else goes down, that's when I'll start to worry. But at this point, like I said, Atlanta Roberts stepping up, Grugier-Hill stepping up. You still have Van Noy. I think they're pretty good. They're set right now. But yeah, if somebody else goes down, man, it's time to start to worry just a tad bit. You know what I'm saying? So, but Van Ginkel though, I think he'll be, he'll get snaps everywhere. His skill set, he's very multiple in his skill set. He can play.
Yeah, I was saying it's like Van Noy, right?
Yeah, I think he's a more athletic version of Kyle Van Noy, to be honest with you. So
we're calling them the Van Brothers, by the way, Curtis.
Yeah, Van Brothers. Van Brothers.
You stole that from me.
You didn't pull the trigger quick enough. Nothing was stolen. So you could trace that. You could trace that back to me. Van Brothers. You heard it here first.
I know you. I'm sure you went over all the news today, Reason. Real quick, man. Is there what other news, man? That's worth mentioning because I haven't had an opportunity to.
There was that Tua highlight run that everyone was talking about. Everyone's more so people are talking about Tua's mobility today and how he, and also talking about that CT scan that came back from Dr. Lyle Kane or whatever that said he had a perfect CT scan. The wide receivers did struggle today because Devontae was out. Preston didn't really show up, but there was a lot of drop balls again today. They didn't throw a lot at all. But they did say that there's a scrimmage on Saturday at Hard Rock, and they're off tomorrow. So Friday they're back at Davie. Saturday scrimmage at Hard Rock. Solomon Kinley, first negative thing you've heard about him was today he got a flag in one-on-ones against Devon Godshaw. More so the Zooms today. Nick Needham's Zoom was really good. He talked about, how he's taking his dieting way more serious and how I believe he was just over 10% body fat and he's now down to 7.3%. What else today? Kavon Frazier, bro. Go watch Kavon Frazier's Zoom. It was very emotional, bro. Because he talked about the Jacob Blake thing, bro. So,
the kid that the kid.
Yeah.
Man.
So we talked about that about 45 minutes ago. We were all talking about that because I don't know if you heard, but basketball is boycotting tonight, eh?
Yeah, I saw that.
And Todd said that the NBA has called an emergency meeting to decide whether they're even going to finish the playoffs.
Oh wow!
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I ain't heard that.
That makes no sense to me.
I think they might just
what
pause for a day or two.
Why are they boycotting?
A gentleman got shot in Wisconsin, and it was questionable. And there's been riots, and the NBA athletes are.
It started with Milwaukee because the gentleman got killed in Kenosha, and Milwaukee was like, "We're not playing," and then they just canceled the rest of the slate of the games.
Yeah, because it also didn't help that there was an active shooter yesterday during the protest in Kenosha. It was a white guy with an automatic weapon, and there's reports that police there were hydrating him and high-fiving him after he killed 2 protesters, and then he actually wasn't apprehended and charged until this morning or this afternoon.
Well, he's 17, from what I understand.
Yeah.
Man, what in the world? What the hell is this world coming to?
2020. 2020.
Bro, EM, you need to see the video of this active shooter, bro. He's just walking around in the middle of the street, bro. Like, no one's gonna bug him. No one's gonna bug him, bro. And like, I don't know if all of y'all know who what's his face? I follow him on Twitter. Tariq. What's his face? He's that really He's that Tariq Nasheed or whatever, and Tariq Nashad. Bro, even Sean King, all these people are like flipping out and saying like this shows the level of corruption that's like running into certain police departments right now. If this kid's out in the street getting hydrated and high-fiving police officers.
High-fiving him?
Yeah,
wow.
Yeah, I'm not.
Well, I know.
But that's what the reports. That's what eyewitness reports were. So take that with a grain of salt.
Could change tomorrow.
Yeah. Oh, from what I understand, he is still alive, but he's paralyzed from the waist down.
Yeah, and they think he might be able to walk.
You know what the saddest part of that video was, guys? You know what the saddest part of that video was? After she popped him, and you heard the horn. Because the body fell on the horn. That was what really like got
with the kids in the car.
That's crazy. That's totally unacceptable. You have 3 officers. I think it was 3, and this guy was unarmed.
Apparently,
that's unacceptable. To use that level of force to subdue someone to get implied there's 3 of y'all being there.
As a cop, if someone gets from around the other side of the car somehow, whatever reason, and they reach into the car, what are you trained to do? And you're within a foot of the person.
Well, I hadn't, from the clips of the video that I saw, they shouldn't even he shouldn't even been able to make it around the car and get inside.
Correct.
You know what I mean? It's 3 of y'all sitting there. 3 of y'all. And the guy, he really wasn't that big to begin with.
No, buck 80 maybe.
You have three officers sitting there. No, that level of force, bro, that's unacceptable.
But let's say it gets to the point. It gets to the point. Whatever happened, we know it wasn't right. But they get from all the way from the passenger side to the driver's side, open the door, and go to reach in. What are you supposed to do at that point? As an officer?
That's up to his discretion. You know what I mean? If it's all about if you feel like your life or a civilian's life is in danger. It's up to that's that gray area. You know what I mean? So, but again, he shouldn't even made it around the vehicle. Yeah. All 3 of them should have just tackled him, got him down. And if the 3 of y'all could,
they did.
What's that?
They did. He was down in the back right of the passenger, Apparently, he was breaking up a fight between two women. They came in and they subdued him. This is the story I heard. And they had him on the ground somehow, some way, from the back right tire of the passenger. He went from there all the way around the front, walking, not even running. And they're holding on to him like he was made of glue, water. And he just kept going, and then he reached into the car, and that's when the lady shot him, and then the two other officers shot him too. That's why he was shot 7 times.
Well, again, it's 3 of y'all there. He shouldn't even been, he shouldn't have been able. There's no way he should have even been able to get up and walk and get away from you. And if it's 3 of y'all there, 3 officers there, and they're having trouble, getting this guy, physically, if they're having problems physically trying to restrain him, they need to. They need to get retested on their physical fitness exams. You know what I mean? Because, that's just, I just don't understand that. I'm like, they're just standing around hollering at him. You know what I mean?
Can I ask you procedure? Because if people don't know, EM Dolphin fan did serve time in the sheriff's department over here. So he's, out of all of us in the comments and on here, he's the one that's trained and has actually been in these situations. When the 3 of them are, when they subdue him and they're trained to subdue him, is it just, maybe I'm off base, but doesn't logic tell you that your initial thing should be to handcuff him?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. I don't understand how
someone's saying that they did taser him and it failed, is what someone's saying in the chat.
But like I'm saying, there's 3 of you. You tackle him to the ground. You tackle him to the ground. You force his arms behind his back. If you break an arm, it's better than taking a life.
I just feel bad for the guy.
And then if you handcuff him, I mean, he can make his way around to the other side of the car, but then he's got to turn his body around and try to reach up and open the door, and then he's got to bend down awkwardly to grab something that might have been on the floor, and there's a pretty good chance that you're going to be able to subdue him again in the time he's trying to either open the door or turn backwards and reach down whatever on the floor. That's all I'm saying.
Me personally, I just think that level of to shoot him 7 times. You know what I mean?
2 shots from each of them. One shot.
Point blank. I guess. At point blank too.
That level of force, bro. That's in my opinion. Now again, I only saw clips of the video. I don't know see, what we have to do is you have to gather all intel. You know what I mean? And you go from there. You can't just see what's happening, in my opinion, in a lot of these situations, is that the media is just clipping certain parts of that video. You know what I mean? And they're putting it out there for people, for people's consumption. And
they may end up being right. They may end up being right, but they're not right yet. We don't know.
Exactly. You have to wait and you have to gather all intel before you formulate it. But I understand but I do understand the frustration, because it's like, no offense to anybody. The issue I have is this. This is the issue I have in terms of, one of the many issues. But the biggest issue I have is this. You have these, in this country, you have these kids, you have white kids going up inside of schools now and just massacring, 15, 20 people, going in Walmarts, murdering. I mean, just with no regard. And these individuals, are taken alive. But you have individuals, like this gentleman here, unarmed.
They give up. That's why. They're looking for fame, and they just like, hey, okay, cops are here, hands up. That's what they do.
Man.
That's not in all cases. That's not what happens.
That exactly. That's not in all cases. But my thing is this, man. If you're I need, this is kind of, this kind of gets me upset. So I'm trying to be a little more guarded in what I'm trying to say here. So but it's just, because I've seen, it upsets me because I've been on both sides of the spectrum. You know what I mean? I've seen everything. I understand what it's like to be on both sides, and it's like I'm in the middle. I'm trying to, when I talk to people about this issue with law enforcement, people in my community. I try to explain to them that, I've been there. I've experienced the good and the bad. I've seen bad members of law enforcement. I've experienced people that would literally every single day. I still have friends on the sheriff's department that literally would lay their life down for you. They don't even know you. You know what I mean? So it's frustrating for me because, again, it's like I'm in the middle of it. You know what I mean? I'm frustrated to keep seeing video after video after video where I know, I can pretty much figure out situations. When they put the video out, I can pretty much tell you how everything unfolded. And I'm not even, and I don't know anybody that was involved in that particular situation. So, and then I get frustrated. I'm like, man, and I see this video. I'm like, damn, it's three officers sitting there. And this dude, I can understand the dude is like,
300.
Raekwon Davis running around. You know what I mean? So, and I'm like, man, and you shoot this guy 7 times. Oh, really?
And let's be honest, EM, from that range, the only other people I know that shoot people from that range are mob hits. That's point blank. And just going off what you're saying here about Caucasians and guns right now, teenagers or whatever, it's funny because what's even more crazy about it is if people do the knowledge and people do the research, and if you were to actually profile what a domestic terrorist is in the United States of America, it's a Caucasian Christian male. And it's not some brown guy with a turban. And that's what's even more scary about it is not only are these kids coming out alive after they do these massacres, but it's also an act of domestic terrorism where they've got no problem going over to the Middle East, or when Obama was in office, riddling Yemen with drone strikes to take out terrorists. But, God forbid a white Caucasian terrorist on American soil. I mean, like some of them even get bought lunch when they're being interrogated. Like, it's crazy, man. I'll be I'm a Caucasian male, and I'll be the first to say, bro, an African American if an African American did that, did any of these shootings, like that theater shooting or whatever, he would have popped, no questions asked. Sandy Hook, if that was a, I'm sorry, man. It's just like that's what the statistics tell you.
Yeah, they're white, like you said, most of them like 95%. But I would say that when you talk about mass murder in general, it's a white man's game, and it's kind of like that same MO. They feel, the world's against them, and the Christian thing, I can see that. But I mean, the majority of America is Christian, so it's kind of hard to.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Break it up.
When you actually profile them, it actually is. I've read research articles on this about how the terrorist profile for domestic terrorism is basically teenage to middle-aged Caucasian Christian American-born males.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
I mean, I think particularly in this situation, we talk about the dude that shot the protesters. You said you're 17 years old and you live in Illinois. What are you doing in Wisconsin?
Yeah, but I heard that they didn't know whether he was a protester or he was an anti-protester.
I've seen videos of him where he's like, "I'm here protecting this business," but you're just there to be there. So what are you talking about?
We're assuming the police saw that. They don't know. We don't know if the police saw that. That's what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
So this guy lives in another state,
right?
And he drove there. Yeah.
He's a militia. Part of a militia.
He crossed state lines with
and that's what I was going to say,
AR-15.
Rhino. And that's what I was going to say, Rhino. I was actually going to say, if you just go over the profile it gave you, that's the same profile for all these extreme right-wing militias as well.
Yes.
And this guy is just walking down the street, open fire on people.
No, he's running. He's running with the crowd. He's running in the crowd, running down the street, and he just decides to drop, arcade style, to his butt on the knee and face back to where he was running from and shoot 2 people. It's crazy. It's insane on video, and he knows he's on video. And from what I heard is that when he saw the police, a report was that he put his hands up to give up and laid on the ground, and the police didn't
even come close to him. They didn't even come close to him.
Yes,
the police, The police were like, "Oh, it's good. He's with us."
Pardon my language, but like a little bitch. Pardon my language. That's. I'm sorry. My bad, homie. That's frustrating. That's extreme. Oh man, that's
But that's what I'm scared of. I'm scared of vigilanteism starting to take hold. That's what I'm scared of.
I'm not.
It's going to get out of hand, EM.
I'm not, because I stay strapped down. So
I'm not concerned one bit. I want to see.
Well, I'm gonna reserve my comments. But
keep that close to the vest.
I'm not too concerned about that, but that's just unfortunate. That's why it's imperative to people, man, protect yourself at all times, because you have. I'm gonna be honest with you. When I go in Walmart, like, check this out. 2 weeks ago, we were in Walmart, and it was one of the employees. They were stocking shelves, and something happened to where like some boxes tumbled over, bro. And it was a loud noise, and I was like, I jumped. I was like, oh my God. And I'm reaching in my pocket. I mean, that quick. This is over some boxes of cereal, bro. You know what I mean? I'm just wired. I'm just, you have to be that way in this hour. This 2020, and 2021 is coming, and it doesn't look like it's getting any better. You know what I mean? So everyone, protect yourself, protect your families at all times, because you just never know when one of these idiots are gonna flip out and just say fuck it. Pardon my language. Sorry.
Can I ask you guys a question? Do you feel that Antifa, and to a lesser extent, not the ideal of Black Lives Matter, but the core group of Black Lives Matter, are taking advantage of the situation?
I think that is a media narrative that has been driven, that is untrue. I feel that protesters are not the problem. The majority, not protesters. Well, the vast majority of protesters are nonviolent and peaceful. Now, when you're talking about these groups, you're talking about they're not coming from usually not coming from an organized group. Usually it's people leaving their homes and saying, I align with this group. So there's no real attachment between these groups and a lot of these people that you're talking about. Now, when you're talking about people who are agitators and looters, these people, although they operate
anarchist,
although they operate at these protests, their priorities run contrary to the priorities of the protesters.
Well, obviously, the protesters aren't burning things down. I mean, we understand that.
No, some people cannot see the distinction.
If someone that can't see the distinction, there's something, I can't help you. Because if you're protesting equal rights for all human beings, and then someone's burning down a building and thinking they're the same, my personal thing is I think there are people taking advantage of it, and put whatever name you want it, Antifa or the core group of Black Lives Matter. I don't think it really is that.
And to be quite honest, they're not when you're talking about looting and talking about fire, these aren't protesters doing this. They're out here for one specific reason.
Yes,
and that is equality.
I don't know if you've seen some of the videos. The protesters have fought back when these Antifa.
I had too.
They're like, get the hell out of here.
And I saw several. I've seen several black female, several videos of black people telling them, look, y'all need to stop that because we're getting blamed for it. They're coming in here. They're coming from different states, coming in here, causing this chaos and leaving, and black people are getting blamed for it. And
the mother of the gentleman who got shot, the one who's paralyzed, she's asking for people to stop looting and to stop the violence.
And that's what I have a problem with is the looting. Okay, the looting and the violence, burning people's homes down. That's ridiculous. That there's no place. You can't solve this issue with more violence, with more looting, with more killing.
But also.
What is it? What's it saying, EM? An eye for an eye makes the world blind.
Yeah. I mean, also at a certain point, we have to understand looters and rioters. Their mission is like the Joker and the Dark Knight.
Anarchy.
Their mission is anarchy.
Yeah.
Right. That is their language. But the language of nonviolent protest is about advocacy. It's about letting people become aware of what's happening. And I think their message is not being diminished, but when we speak often about the looters and the rioters and the buildings burning down, the problem is it all gets grouped into one.
Exactly. That's the biggest issue.
Yeah, they are completely separate entities. When you're talking about these people, leading a lot of these protests, you're talking about people with like master's degrees and organizing, like doing the work that they need to do.
But here's what I was going to ask you, Havoc. There have been people that have done the research. There are 4 or 5 people that are dating back all the way back to when Bush was president, and they were having the G8 or G7, whatever it was, and they totally annihilated that city. They have counted 4 or 5 people that have been involved in that all the way into here. They're always the same to 4 to 5 people, and they're trying to grab these 4 or 5 people, and they never can get them. That's what I think. I don't know what's going on. I have no idea. I'm not really a conspiracy guy.
Yeah,
but I don't know how you can have 4 or 5 people dating back to 20 years ago still being around this whole.
Well, it's easy. It's economic guerrilla warfare. I mean,
but who's leading it? That's my point.
Here's the thing, Rhino. There was clips that came out during the George Floyd protest, and I sent them to EM, literally, and EM will tell you he remembers this because we were shocked. It was these 2 African Americans, and they walked up to the corner, right, the curb, and guys, it was basically nothing but glass storefronts. And what was sitting right on the corner? Literally a skid of perfectly stacked loose bricks.
Oh yeah.
A full
that was in Dallas.
Yeah,
or frozen bottles.
That was downtown Dallas.
Frozen water bottles in Washington.
And you know what they said? They said literally, we showed up here and these were already here.
God.
Yep.
Come on now.
That was downtown Dallas, bro. And these kids were like, look at this. We're not here to destroy any property. We're here, to protest peacefully or whatnot. But look at what has been, look at what's strategically placed in front of these glass buildings. Nothing, stacks of cinder blocks. Period. So there's definitely an agenda in play.
What, bro? It all started, right? JFK talked about this, and it's just an extension of this when he talked about that military-industrial complex, because this is all – listen, war creates money, war creates jobs, even when it's incited rioting violence on the domestic home front. Because
over time.
Exactly, man. People got to go out there and work.
Yep, and Eisenhower talked about it too.
And you have to sit and you have to ask yourself – and you have to sit and ask yourself, when all of this turmoil happens in this country, it's all around election season, election time. Usually, always in an election year.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I definitely do. I think that a lot of this, probably 95% of what has transpired in 2020 is orchestrated. There's an agenda in place. I can't put my finger on what exactly that agenda is. I have my suspicions. But I'm a conspiracy theorist by heart anyway, so I don't want to get into that. I don't want people calling me even more crazy than they already do. So
you're not gonna bring up Tom. You're not gonna bring up Tom Hanks, are you?
No. That's funny. Shout out to the homie Sharif, man. Shout out to the homie Sharif. But yeah, there's an agenda in place. But I think by design, nobody, except maybe a certain percentage of individuals that control things, know what that agenda is.
So what do we do about it is my question.
So what happens
is we do about
it? The marathon continues. We're going to keep doing what we're doing. We're going to keep demanding justice right now, and that's that. That's that. Yeah, it's non-negotiable at this point.
Yeah, I understand, but that what the side you're talking about eventually will not really get what they want, because it's going to lead to a bad place, and then you're going to have innocent businesses being closed down and cities being completely annihilated.
Innocent businesses are being closed down right now due to the pandemic. I work in the restaurant industry. There's no safety net for any of these businesses. Listen, and a Western style capitalism, there is no safety net for businesses.
Yeah, but how do you burn it down? That's my whole thing. If they
how
ever
many
want to come
businesses
back,
are being burned down right now that you think are? How many businesses do you think are being burned down right now?
It's on TV, and we know how TV can mislead, but the city looks like it's burning to me, whether it's a 2 or 3 or 5 block area.
Come on, man.
You know what? I think the first, in terms of resolution, the first thing everyone needs to do is identify what the problem is, because you have when I listen to different people about what their opinions are, they give vague answers, and they're not very, specific about what the issues are. And that, the fact that there's no unity, nobody can come together and agree upon, okay, this is a problem here, this is a problem here, this is a problem here. We need to sit down and we need to come together and sit down at the table and talk about these specific issues. Don't just say, okay, in my opinion, it's systemic racism. No, that's a vague answer. You have to give specific instances. And that is why when I'm talking, in my opinion, in terms of the issues that plague the black community in this country in 2020 is where I'm getting a lot of feedback on.
Not anymore. I know I muted it. It's Pyro.
Oh, okay. In 2020 in this country, in my opinion, is mass incarceration, criminal justice reform. Start there, because that is the biggest issue that plagues black males in this country.
But we have
those are two specific. Those are two specific issues that you can identify, and you can sit down at the table and say, look. And I know a lot of people's not going to agree with me. They're probably going to call me crazy or call me whatever. But you got to give credit where credit is due. Donald Trump started that train as soon as he stepped into office. He got that train moving.
I will agree. The train got moving as soon as he stepped in office.
Yeah, and you look at in every president prior to him wouldn't even think about addressing that particular issue.
They're scared of it.
It's the 90 days in office.
It's the third rail. They don't want to touch it. Because one way or another, you're going to offend one side, and he doesn't care whether you think of him.
You also need to understand that if you go to these protests, they're talking about systemic, like they're talking about the school to prison pipeline. You know what I mean? Like they're talking about these now.
Starting from school education.
Hear on CNN, you're not going to hear them talk about the school to prison pipeline. They're not going to hear them talk about, the inequalities, what they're actually talking about. You're going to see the stores burning down, but you're not actually going to hear what the people who are protesting have to say.
Because the reason why
we're gonna wrap, guys, we're gonna wrap this up. We're almost at 2.5 hours here. So whatever you guys want to say right now, we'll start with final thoughts. If it's on what we were just talking about, knock yourself out. So Ryan, we'll start with you.
It's good to see that Ballage has been set free. He can work on his next team and we can move on. It's the best thing. And I want to say kudos to Hollins. He's making plays, and EM is a yes. EM knows what he's talking about with that guy. It's and I can't wait for Saturday.
Rhino, sorry, Havoc, go ahead.
I mean, it's fins up. Good to hear about Ballage. Good to see Hollins out here making plays. He may go from a Wingstop employee to a Wingstop franchisee.
You need to stop, Havoc. You really need to stop.
But now he's saying he's going to own the Wingstop. It's an improvement.
I'm saying he's going to own an asset.
Put some respect on that man's name.
And he
put some respect on that man's name.
He can put some lemon. He can put that lemon pepper dry seasoning on the wings as an owner if he keeps making plays.
I hear you. It looks so. Real quick, I know we're wrapping things up, but so Matt Collins made more plays today. Did they write about him today?
I think he had a catch and a drop that they highlighted.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Which on a slow day is a good thing.
Pyro, anything you got to say, brother?
Well, I just want to say I can't wait for the scrimmage. That's what I'm looking forward to. Thank God Ballage is gone. After he got trucked by Bobby, that was
I know Flores said, God damn it, get this guy, get him out of here. Get him
Bobby hit him.
You gotta go.
The corner is more of a running back than running back.
Yeah. Come on now. Did you fill the ink in the printer? Because I got the bus gassed up.
Oh yeah. Well, I gotta get caught up and check my emails and everything. I'm sure it's there though. I'm sure that email is there. I'm sure it's there. So do y'all know when did this must have just happened recently?
It happened basically in Rappaport reported when I went live at 9:00 that that the Dolphins informed Ballage that they're releasing him.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
So EM, final thoughts?
Man, I have to get caught up on today's news but yeah, man, I'm gonna be honest. This world, 2020, man, I tell you, it cannot, come to an end fast enough for me. But when I say that, I'm terrified of what's coming in 2021, the way things are going, if things don't get any better. But it's disturbing. It's just disturbing. But
EM, are you near the hurricane? Are you okay?
Oh no, I'm good.
All right.
No, we're good. I'm way up north Texas. But
good.
Yeah, and then with this hurricane, this is a monster coming.
Prayers for them, man.
Very much.
That's
a
very
monster
tough.
coming.
Yeah, I saw they're telling people in Lake Charles, California, to evacuate because the portion of the town's going to be underwater.
13 feet on low tide. On low tide.
Flash flood too. Flash flood.
Hey, look, I'm not trying to preach to anybody or whatnot, but I think I think personally it's been time, but I don't know what your faith is and
bro, don't start coming out here and saying we're about to have revelations, bro.
Hey, no. I'm just saying, bro, we need to try something different because,
in all fairness, I've been
trying to pray for a long time.
In all fairness, I've been saying to everyone, I don't know what's going to happen first. EM joining the stream on time or the second coming of Christ, and we might actually get the second coming of Christ first.
But yeah, man, I just
oh, sorry, Louisiana, Michael. My bad. Yeah, it's Louisiana.
Yeah, but also I'll say, I mean, I went through Hurricane Andrew in 1992. If you're in the crosshairs, get out. It's just a house. It's just possessions. You can get more of that.
Yeah, I left and came back.
In 2006, man, I had a buddy of mine. Whenever Katrina hit, was that 2006, 2007?
Five?
Check this out. 05? No, it was
I think so.
06, I think. Okay. I
think it was 06.
Well, my buddy, when I was at the sheriff department, I had a close friend of mine. He's from Louisiana, right? And so, once Katrina hit, he relocated to Texas. And, I've never experienced anything like that, anything of that magnitude, but he was traumatized for life. Once Katrina had came and gone, he lost family members, right? And he lost his uncle. So they were in a boat, literally in a boat, driving around trying to find his uncle. When they found him, and as soon as they pulled up, the crocodiles were feeding on him.
Come on, man.
So he pulled out his gun and was shooting the crocodiles to get him off of his uncle. True story. Wow. So
on that note,
on a high note,
sorry about your friend's uncle, but
yeah, it's crazy. So I say that to say this, man. My prayers going out to everybody.
Yeah, definitely.
Man.
It's nothing like segueing a good message with the story about a guy being eaten alive by alligators or crocodiles.
He had drowned. He had passed.
Oh, okay.
He had passed. But
thank goodness.
Wow, that's good.
Yeah,
that's what it is. So
man,
thankfully he passed.
But anyway,
yeah,
I've gotten too personal here tonight. So
guys. Smash that like button, subscribe if you haven't. If you'd like to donate to the channel, paypal.me/Phinside. If you'd like to become a Patreon member, patreon.com/Phinside the NFL. And guys, it's filling up fast because I got even more emails yesterday. And I checked with my mods, a couple of my mods that hadn't hit me up because the emails are coming in. We got 2 leagues. We got a $25 league and a free league for fantasy. If you want to join either one or both, email me at phinsidethenfl@gmail.com. Tell me which league you want to be in, again, or both. There's only, I believe, 3 spots left in the paid league, and the free league is basically we're well into the teens right now. So, guys, if you want to join, let me know. But there is no practice tomorrow night, so we won't be back tomorrow night, but we will be back Friday night. But, guys, as always, until then, It's Fins Up all day, every day, and we will catch y'all guys on Friday.
Peace.
Be safe, everybody.